Evening, colleagues. Please be seated. Welcome, everyone, to this meeting of Borough Council. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed. And welcome to those members of the public in the public gallery and those watching from home. If any member of the public or press would like to record proceedings themselves, please do so from the public gallery without interfering with the business of today's meeting. If the fire alarm sounds, can those sitting in the public gallery exit through the doors behind them, and those sitting in the council chamber leave the room by the doors behind me and make your way to the front of the town hall. To limit disturbances, please ensure mobile phones and other electronic devices are switched off or on silent during the meeting. And please also keep movement in and out of the chamber to a minimum to avoid disruption, if you don't mind. Any member who wishes to speak on any of the agenda items should use the microphones available, which are on your desk. Full council today will deal only with business that is set out on the summons. And finally, I would remind all members of Council Procedure Rule 34, any councillor who speaks at any meeting will not accuse anyone, member, officer or otherwise, of improper motives or use offensive expressions or unparliamentary language, and must demonstrate compliance with the Council proud values and the member code of conduct at all times. I will not tolerate unacceptable behaviour whatsoever, and so please consider this your first and final warning. I've received apologies from Councillor Stonehouse and Councillor Thompson. Are any members aware of any further apologies?
Councillor McEwen.
Thank you. No problem.
Councillor Curtis as well.
Okay, got that here. That's brilliant, thank you. The first item of business is declarations of interest. Does any member wish to make a declaration before we move on to the next item of business? Yes, Councillor.
Yes, it is. I wish to declare a personal interest in motion 2, as I am a WASPI woman, and this will not prevent me from taking part in any discussion or from any vote that may be taken.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too am a WASPI woman, so I wish to declare a personal interest in motion 2. This does not prevent me from taking part in any discussion about the matter or in any vote on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Chairman of the Friends of Temple Park.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I wish to declare personal interest in motion 1 as I am a WASPI woman. This does not prevent me from taking part in any discussion about the matter or in any vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bartley?
Thank you. I'd like to declare an interest in the WASPI motion as well, as I am a WASPI woman. But this does not stop me from taking part in debate or voting on the issue. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Kilgour?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'm not a WASPI woman, but I do have a personal interest in motion 2, in that I'm an employee of DWP. I can remain in for the debate and I can vote. Thank you.
Okay, that's lovely, thank you. Anybody else? Hello, yes.
Yeah,
It's quite a few, ain't it?
I declare that I'm also a WASPI woman, and this does not affect my
Okay, thank you, that's
partaking in
fantastic.
debate.
Right. Anybody else? Yeah? That's good stuff.
Point
Colleagues,
of order. Point of order.
Okay, and what rule has been breached, Councillor?
Sorry.
What rule has been breached?
Oh, wait a minute.
If you can't tell me what rule has been breached, we're going to move on.
The Mountain officers all know what it is.
No, you've got to tell me what rule has been breached.
I cannot say the
Well,
paragraph.
well, just move on.
Wow.
Yes, wow. If you can't tell me which rule has been breached, we're going to move on.
I'll tell you the rule.
You raised the point of order. Well, what rule is it?
I'll tell you the rule if you let us say it.
You raise the point of order.
Can I
Which
please
rule
say
has
it
been breached?
on a point of order?
Which rule has been breached?
The fact.
We're going to... No, I don't want an explanation. I need a rule number.
So every councillor in here...
Right. Colleagues, I remind that if you have a disclosed pecuniary interest in an item which prevents you from participating in the debate on any vote, you will need to leave the chamber during that item. And may I just remind you all, if you raise a point of order, tell me the rule. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. Is that understood? Thank you. Right. Next item of business is the minutes of a meeting of council held on 13th of May 2025. Are they accepted as a correct record? Good.
Agreed.
Thank you. Next item of business, Mayor's communications and announcements. Colleagues, I have no announcements to make, but can I take this opportunity to request a change of order in this evening's council business meeting regarding item 14 on the agenda, which you will see is an exempt item. Can I suggest for minimal disruption that we discuss this item last? This will mean that we do not have to ask members of the public to temporarily leave the chamber or stop and restart the live stream. Moving this item to the end of the meeting after item 17, motion that Council Procedure Rule 10 will ensure a smooth flow of tonight's business as per the requirements of Council Procedure Rule 2.3.1. Is that agreed? Agreed. Fantastic, thank you. The next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Corporate Affairs to appoint the membership of committees of the Council. Colleagues, there are supporting gold papers and green papers providing your seats to support this report, but these were also circulated to you all by email earlier today. I will now ask Councillor Tracy Dixon, the leader of the Council, to present this report. Councillor Dixon.
Yep, thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Colleagues, since the annual Council meeting in May, the composition of the Council has changed. The Council has received notice of a new political group, the Real Independent Councillors Group, made up of 4 councillors. An elected member had provided notice that they no longer wish to be affiliated to any political group. This means a recalculation exercise has been required to ensure our council committees remain politically balanced with representation from across the chamber. The breakdown of the political makeup of the council is shown in the table in paragraph 5 of the report. For the purpose of the committee membership and seat entitlements, the table in paragraph 11 shows the number of councillors as a number and a percentage and how that equates to seats. As the Mayor has already recognised, 27 councillors is 50% of the council, not 51.85%. The monitoring officer has worked with all 4 group leaders to collate the information required to populate the gold papers that have been provided to members setting out the nominations for committee membership. Due to the impact of recent changes in membership, the chair position of the audit committee is currently vacant, and an appointment will need to be made to make this role by Borough Council. Other changes to chair and vice chair positions have been proposed for Borough Council consideration. These have been incorporated in the green papers provided and should be used by Borough Council to consider whether there should be any changes to the appointment of chair and vice chair positions for the remainder of 25-26 municipal year. Mr Mayor, the Constitution Committee met on the 24th of June 2025 to discuss a number of matters that were raised by members that are not members of the Constitution Committee seeking urgent consideration. Following this meeting, Constitution Committee would like to make 2 recommendations in respect of the scrutiny procedure rules that are detailed in paragraph 32 and 36 of the report on page 10, pages 10 to pages 36 of the pack. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dixon. Is that seconded?
Seconded.
That's brilliant, thank you. Are there any questions, or does any member wish to speak to the report or move any amendments? Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I would like to thank Councillor Hamilton for nominating herself for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 committees. Wow. A commendable workload. I hope the council don't charge her rent. We're not taking this report in 2 parts, are we? The Constitution amendments are also to be addressed at this point?
Yep.
The amendments to the Constitution, I find a gross executive overreach. As the Green Papers attest, overview and scrutiny, chair and vice chair come from the Labour group. And so all councillors then report into them to raise a call-in. This is not standard policy in local borough councils. A simple amendment was required to incorporate the concern that excluded independent councillors. Simple, from group to aligned. And so 2 groups aligned reported into the call-in, yet we now face a call-in completely objectively shut down by the Labour group if it isn't to their liking. And so I would like to propose an amendment to the constitutional change that we revert to the original language and change group to affiliation, or whatever the monitoring officer seems fit is the correct word to represent the councillors as they take their allegiance to the council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that.
Well, on that proposal would need to be seconded and it would be moved, but there is a requirement that changes to the Constitution will first need to be considered by Constitution Committee. So it may be that you need to amend your proposal for that requirement to then be considered by Constitution Committee for them to then consider if it's come back in the council in order to be compliant with the Constitution.
Are you happy with that answer? Happy? Happy with Billy?
I'm happy with that clarification from the
That's
monitoring
lovely.
officer.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, on that basis, that will need to be confirmed as a recommendation and then that will need to be seconded and agreed.
Okay. Is it seconded? We've got quite a few hands up here. Could you use the mic, please?
Apologies, Mr. Mayor. I second that. I second that amendment to this report. I think it's very important.
Okay.
If we're going to have a debate, I would speak on it. Thank you.
Okay. Was that agreed, yeah?
Can I raise a point of information, Mr. Mayor?
You can.
In answer to Councillor Davis's comment about me sitting on 8 committees, I don't envisage it for to be too long. May 2026 is looming up fast, and I'm sure those committees will be shared out amongst other real independents.
Thank you for that, Councillor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need an answer as to whether that's agreed.
Now, is that agreed, please? No.
I speak. I have my hand up.
So, now show hands.
So there will need, because there was a dissenting voice, there will need to be a decision just on that point, and then the debate will open up again, and other members who want to speak on the report will be able to be invited to do so by the Mayor.
Okay. Is that understood? Yeah.
Do you want to do it by a show of hands? Do you want me to just...
Just do by show hands.
So members, on the basis of the recommendation that's been made by Councillor Davies and then seconded by Councillor Ford for original wording to be reinstated around the Scrutiny Committee procedure rules, all those in favour for that to be considered by Constitution Committee, please raise your hand now. All those members who are against that proposal and do not want that to be referred to Constitution Committee for consideration. And any abstentions? So on that basis, Mr. Mayor, that recommendation is not agreed and that proposal will not be referred to Constitution Committee.
Okay, thank you.
On the basis of 17 for, 27 against and 4 abstentions.
Okay, we have 17 for, 27 against, and 4 abstentions. So, basically not going ahead. Okay. Now, Councillor Robertson, you had your hand up earlier on, sorry.
Thank you. I was going to ask, do we, because I don't know the answer to this, the proposals of different changes to the committees, is that for debate later? Or was it just this now? Thank you.
It's not the report in its entirety is what you're asking for. Any questions or any member to speak on is now.
You happy with that, Councillor? That's brilliant. I forgot where you are now.
We're still just on this bit here, so it doesn't look like anybody else has got a hand up.
Yeah, problem.
So we're here.
Right. Colleagues, Council asked to note the information included in the report with regards to calculation of political balance of the Council for 2025-2026 municipal year. It should be noted here that the percentage calculation in the table on page 5 of the report, page 31 of the pack, is a typo. Labour Group have 50%, not 51.85, equating to 8%, 90 and not 93 seats. All of the figures are correct. Is this information noted? Noted. Thank you. Note of various political groups across the council together with group leaders and deputy leaders. Is that noted? Thank you. Using the gold papers provided, and specifically Appendix 1 in relation to changes, appoint a membership of the committees of the council for 2025 and 2026 municipal year. Is that agreed? Thank you. Using the green papers provided for support, appoint the chair and vice chair position of the committees of the council including the paper for the 2025-2026 municipal year. Members will note there are a number of nominations that I will go through in turn. In respect of our place committee, there has been a proposal of Councillor Brennan to replace Councillor Strike as chair of the committee. Is that agreed?
No. No. So there's a dissenting voice.
Yes, yeah, good. Okay. We'll take a vote.
Want me to do that, Mr.
Yeah, you do that, please, don't mind that.
Okay. Okay, members, what I'll do is I'll ask for you to raise your hand first if you're in favour of Councillor Brennan taking on the chair role of our place committee. So if you would like Councillor Brennan to be the chair, can you raise your hand now, please? I'm counting with a... You can have a name vote, but you need 5 members. But of course, people have got their hands up. So, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, can we maybe just conclude this vote?
Yes, please.
And then see if the request for a name vote is successful.
With that, yeah. Yep.
So the next part of it is for those who are in favour of Councillor Strike to remain the chair of our place scrutiny committee. Please indicate that now by raising your hand. Now, I don't think there are any abstentions, but just double check. Is there anybody who hasn't voted either way? No. So on that basis, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Strike will remain the chair of our place committee with 31 votes. Councillor Brennan received 17 votes. But Councillor Robertson asked for a named vote. Now, okay, great.
That's good. Thank you for that, Councillor Robertson. In respect of the chair of audit, there's been nominations moved in respect of both Councillors Davis and Councillor Porthouse. Councillors, if you are for Councillor Davis taking on the chair of audit committee, please indicate clearly by raising your hand now. It's for chair of audit. Councillor Davis and Councillor Porthouse.
Mr. Mayor, you might just want to clarify, this is... No, the opportunity for speaking was before the votes. You'll need to ask if they've got...
I got...
5.
Do you have 5 hands for the name vote, please?
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, Councillor Robertson, you asked the question if you were able to speak and you said yes. We said yes and then you didn't speak, so you kind of lost that opportunity. We're in the vote now. Well... It's up to the mayor.
You've lost the opportunity now, Councillor, sorry.
Point of information, please. I was the same as Councillor Roberts. I thought you were talking about the last one. When you said you can speak, I didn't know you were about this one.
Well, I did specifically say in respect of chair of audit.
I never heard that, mind you.
Really?
Really, honestly. I didn't hear that at all.
Can I just ask colleagues, who heard me say chair of audit? Thank you. I did specifically say chair of audit. Well, you're the only 2 people who didn't, unfortunately.
So the question now is...
If you want to speak, raise your hand.
...is around a named vote. I think you were supporting what you were saying there. So, is there 5 members who would like a named vote on the question around the chair of audit committee?
Yeah, well, I've got, yeah. Go ahead with the named vote.
Okay. So, Members, I think the best thing to do with this is, because it's a proposal between two elected members for chair, is if I read your name, would you be able to say the word Davies or Davis? I never know if I say that right. Or Porthouse.
I'll keep getting that wrong as well.
So when I say your name, rather than saying for, against or abstain, can you say Davies or Porthouse? Is that clear, everyone? Right. Councillor Barclay.
Porthouse.
Councillor Brennan.
Davies.
Councillor Brown.
Davies.
Councillor Carter.
Porthouse.
Councillor Clare.
Porthouse.
Councillor Coombs.
Davies.
Councillor Cunningham. Councillor Davies.
Davies.
I knew it was Davies. Councillor Dawes.
Porthouse.
Councillor P. Dean.
Porthouse.
Councillor Esteen.
Porthouse.
Councillor Dixon.
Porthouse.
Councillor Ellison. Councillor Foggin. Councillor Ford.
Davies.
Councillor Foreman. Councillor Francis.
Davies.
Councillor Gibson. Councillor Guy.
Davies.
Councillor Ginn. Councillor Hamilton.
Abstain.
Councillor Herbert.
Davies. Can I do a point of information, please?
No, we're conducting a vote at the moment.
It's going to be
is that-
illegal if you
Not
do
yet,
it.
Councillor.
It's going to be illegal if you
Not
do
yet.
it.
Councillor Keegan. Councillor Kennedy.
Davies.
Councillor Kilgour. Councillor Lamont.
Porthouse.
Councillor Leask. Councillor K. Maxwell.
Porthouse.
Councillor N. Maxwell. Councillor McCabe.
Porthouse.
Councillor McHugh. Councillor Melling. Councillor Myers.
Davies.
Councillor Oliver.
Davies.
Councillor Owens-Palmer.
Davies.
Councillor Porthouse. Councillor Proudlock. Councillor K. Roberts. Councillor T. Roberts.
Davies.
Councillor Robertson. Councillor Smith.
Davies.
Councillor Strike. Councillor J. Taylor.
Porthouse.
Councillor R. Taylor.
Davies.
Councillor Traynor. Councillor Welsh. Councillor Wood.
Davies.
Councillor Yeh.
Davies.
Can I speak, please? Because we can't go ahead with this, Jay. If I just listen to what I'm going to say, please.
Yeah, carry on, yeah.
Thank you. In the Constitution, it says that no councillor can be chair of two committees, right?
Yeah.
Councillor Porthouse is already the chair of the regulatory committee. There's only the leader can be chair of two committees.
2 seconds, John.
I understand you can't be remunerated for more than 2 positions, which you would only then receive.
I'm just seeking advice, John. It's okay, 2 seconds.
If you can tell us the exact rule that I should look at.
Mayor? Mayor, can I come in a second?
Yes, sir.
I don't know the rule, but I remember back in May when we were going through this green slip, there was a box at the bottom of it that said that the members of the Audit Committee, specifically the chair of the Audit Committee, could not be on any other committee itself. It's not on this paper. I don't know what rule that was, but it was definitely on the papers back in May. Could it be worth parking this specific decision until we've got better clarification on that, or we've got sight of them papers back in May if the monitoring officer...
No problem. I'm just looking into it now.
Thank you.
So the only bit of wording, and colleagues, I'm more than happy for you to point us if, because there's a lot of pages, as you know, but the chair of Audit Committee will be free from executive and scrutiny functions. So I don't believe he is a chair of...
Yeah, go, okay, Councillor.
This is off the council's website today. It's all been printed off an hour ago, right?
Okay, but
now,
Councillor Robertson, you asked us a question. I was in the middle of answering it, and then you just start talking.
I thought you were
over
just
us,
saying
but
that was
no,
your-
you
Well,
carry on. You crack on.
Thank you. So off the council's website tonight, 4 o'clock, right? Under Mr Porthouse, Councillor Porthouse's list of declarations, it says, South Tyneside Council Housing Services, in brackets, Chair of the Board of Directors, in brackets, Council appointment, in brackets, Council received directly, allowance received directly from South Tyneside Council Housing Services.
So, Mr Mayor, that relates to the point I made previously, that absolutely correct. No elected member can receive 2 special responsibility allowances. But just because you're appointed to a role does not mean you will automatically receive that allowance. So there's already a number of members who sit on numerous roles which all attract a special responsibility allowance, and the elected member receives only the higher SRE.
Thank you. Can I just reply to that, please?
If you make it brief.
I will, very brief. So, just on camera, can you confirm, or will you be able to confirm at a later date, or you or Stuart, that Councillor Porthouse doesn't receive the chair's money for the licensing committee and his allowance that it says on here that he receives on the housing? Yeah?
No, because he received a payment, and sorry, Councillor Porthouse, I'm talking about you as if you're not here. There was a payment, then it was made direct from South Tyneside Homes. That does not be made by South Tyneside Homes, so no duplicate payments are paid by the council.
Right, we're going to move on now.
Sorry,
No
Chair.
problem.
Sorry, mate. I still have my hand up.
Yeah, no bother.
If I'm not mistaken, was it not a couple of years ago that the leader, Tracy Dixon, said that the audit committee, the chair of the audit committee, would always be the opposition, not Labour? That was said a couple of years ago. So if she's going to change it back to Labour now, have they got something to hide?
Right, we're starting to get a bit personal now, so I want to move on. No, well, it's not. We want to stick to the agenda, Keith.
Mayor, with
Yes, Councillor.
With respect, Nicola, sorry, the monitoring officer, apologies, was in the middle of explaining the scrutiny functions. I would just like her to continue, if that's all right.
So the provision is around the chair of audit not being able to be in a chair position of regulatory or a scrutiny committee. Now, as much as I try and remember all of your positions, elected members, I can't, off the top of my head, remember, but I don't believe you are the chair of a scrutiny committee, Councillor Porthouse?
I'm chair of licensing, but I'll resign from that if need be.
So you are chair of licensing committee, so that is an issue, and therefore you wouldn't be able to be the chair of audit committee and the chair of regulatory and licensing committee. So, do you want to put a pin in that, and we can come back to the...
We'll do.
So he is the chair of audit committee. We can put a pin in it and come back to the chair of regulatory committee if colleagues would like to do that today, or that can be deferred and the vice chair can continue in that position until the next ordinary meeting of Borough Council, which would just be standard practice. But he's just...
Are you quite happy for to put a pin in that? Move it on. Sorry, buddy?
Can we not move a new chair of audit?
Councillor Clare.
Chair, I'm quite prepared as Vice Chair of Licensing not to take the remuneration package for Chair of Licensing, but to continue in that capacity.
That's very noble of you.
So, colleagues, from what I can gather, Councillor Porthouse has just been elected as the chair of audit committee. On the back of that, he has resigned from being the chair. You've been in this...
No, come on now,
you've been
listen.
in the same room. You pointed out a very helpful bit of information, Councillor Robertson, and it's been responded to.
Right, Councillor, that's enough. You've had your first warning. This is your second warning. Your third one, I'm going to ask you to leave.
So on the back of
You
that,
keep speaking over me. I don't like it.
Porthouse-
Don't do it, John.
On the back of that, Councillor Porthouse received 26 votes in favour, 18 votes against, so is now the chair of audit committee. For the intervening period, Councillor Clare, as the deputy chair of regulatory committee, will continue in that role because Councillor Porthouse has resigned. So on that basis, I think we're now into the vice chair of audit committee position.
Mr Mayor, can I just raise a point of...
You can, sir.
Money.
Thank you, Michael. What rule is being breached?
State what, sorry?
Which rule is being breached if there's a point of order? No, which rule is being... Councillor, which rule is being breached? Well, that's it. Well, we're going to move on. If I'm going to say it again, for the third time, it's going to be the final time. If you raise a point of order, you tell me which rule is being breached. I hope that's understood, because I'm not going to say it again.
Which rule is being breached?
No,
It's a technicality, Mr Mayor, but I just want to make it clear that 18.2 of the Constitution requires a resignation of a committee to be sent in writing to the monitoring officer. You can't just do it on the fly. And I just, for completeness, thank you, Mr Mayor.
Now, that's the sort of answer you give. You quote a rule, you quote rule number, you don't give an explanation. Thank you for that. We're going to move on.
Because they're saying, therefore, that the decision is a breach and therefore he can't be appointed to audit committee, even though he's made it clear that he's going to submit his written resignation after the meeting. But it's up to you to make that decision and whether or not there needs to be another vote.
I agree with you. Constitution should be applied.
Okay.
Yep.
If that's the case, Mr Mayor, I would like to propose Andrew Guy as the chair of the audit. Thank.
Okay, but Councillor Davies was the one who was.
Councillor Davies was nominated for it, not Councillor Guy.
I respect the nomination, but I would have to say that Councillor Davies was the one nominated on the papers, and I'd like to do things as properly as possible, please. Thank you.
I'm going to seek advice from Nicola.
So on that basis, then, from what you're saying, Councillor Davies will be the chair of the audit committee, because we're saying that whatever discussions happened at the meeting tonight, even though the intention is clear, will not follow that, and therefore.
Councillor Roberts. Councillor Roberts, that's enough. Don't do it. That's enough. No, don't. If you want to speak, raise your hand. Councillor Roberts, if you want to speak, raise your hand. Now stand up and speak.
What's Labour got to hide? Why are they hiding stuff? They're putting this man in charge now. He's sitting writing his resignation out now. It's embarrassing. It's on camera. It's embarrassing that he's doing this now because the Labour group are hiding something. What is it?
This is just about the appointment of a chair, so let's everybody calm down.
Right, we're going to move on, people.
Points have been made. So what that position means then, if we're going back to the comments that have been made, Councillor Davies will be appointed the chair of audit committee.
Yeah. Councillor Davies, you happy with that? No. Fantastic. Go on, 2 seconds. Can we have some order, please?
Mr Mayor, could our proposal get brought back to the next full council, please? Thank you.
Right. We're going to move on, okay? We're going to take next meeting.
So, colleagues, I'm sorry, there's just so much chatter all over the place. I hear the points that have been made over here. I hear the points that have been made over here. There have been points made over here about an alternative nomination to have a redo of the vote on the principle that a Labour member wanted to be a chair of the committee and the wrong name was put forward. And hands up, I didn't spot the conflict. So thank you, Councillor Robertson, for that. So, on that basis, an option available is to have a vote again on the chair, and it's the chair between Councillor Davies and the alternative Labour nomination, just in the same way that you on your feet wanted to propose an alternative nomination that wasn't included in the papers around Councillor Guy. So if we can all just get some consensus, because otherwise I'm in a rock and a hard place here, people. So let's, if we can just move forward on that basis, and then we can conclude the vote on the chair, and then we can move into the vote on the vice chair.
2 seconds. Councillor Kilgour, you had your hand up.
Mr Mayor, I actually was going to move for a kind of a 10-minute adjournment so that we could discuss this separately by way of members, but that's entirely up to the members in the chamber.
No, we're going to have an adjournment for 10 minutes. I've just said we're having an adjournment for 10 minutes. Go on then.
Much appreciated.
It's
right.
Okay, it's quite all right.
So being fair, right? Being fair and open and transparent and honest for the cameras and for these people there. It is a bit unfair when the papers is clearly listing Councillor Davies wanting the chair, Councillor Guy wanting the vice chair. How can we just pull another name out of the hat? One's fell by the wayside, the 2 of them are still sitting there.
Councillor
Let's go
Robertson,
with what's
with respect, you just pulled another name out of the hat when you nominated.
Yes,
before.
I did.
So
Yes, I did.
let's
What
not-
happened?
Right, that's it, Councillor. That's enough. Stop.
I'm just saying.
We're taking a 10-minute adjournment, everybody. 10-minute adjournment, people. Hello again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your break. I did. Thought it was fit and parched. Right. Nicola, what moving on with?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. As always, there's a first time for everything in South Tyneside, and obviously, there has been a little bit of confusion. So, Mr. Mayor, we will not contest the proposal for Councillor Davies to be the chair of audit due to the confusion and what have you. So, we're proposing Councillor Davies, following that suggestion earlier.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tate.
Is that agreed, everyone? Fantastic. You certainly can, Councillor Robertson.
Thank you very much.
Make it brief.
Wait, I'll try and get my phone. Right. So, under section 16 of the Constitution, it says clearly, wait a minute.
Councillor, we're going to have to move on, mate.
Oh, you could, just one second, it's there.
Is it a point of order? Because otherwise
It's a point of information there. Point of information there. Right, are you ready? Failure to declare disclosable pecuniary interest. Section 34 of the Localism Act created a criminal offence where an elected member or co-opted member fails without reasonable excuse to comply with requirements of the Act to register or declare a disclosable pecuniary interest or take part in council business at meetings. Now, Councillor Porthouse should have declared a pecuniary interest if the money was receiving from South Tyneside housing. It should have been declared at this meeting.
One, it's got no relevance of the agenda. Two, South Tyneside Housing Services is the council. So I don't know what your point is.
Right, let's move on.
Robertson. Right.
Move on to the Vice Chair of Audit Committee. That's where I want it. There was a nomination for Councillor Guy, I believe, to be considered as Vice Chair and replace Councillor Davies. Councillor Guy, did you wish to
Chair.
speak? Where is it? Ah, Alison.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor Porthouse for Vice Chair. Well, there has been confusion in our...
Is that seconded?
Right, then
No,
we
Councillor.
need to do a vote. And if you're happy, Mr. Mayor, it'll be a vote by show of hands in the same way that we did before. So,
Chair, I didn't finish what I was speaking.
I didn't say you couldn't comment.
the debate's closed on the report. We're in the decision-making part. Like,
No, Councillor Robertson, come on. We've got a lot to get through.
Thank you very much for your patience tonight, Mayor. I'm full up. Thank you. Right. Now, I'm opposing this, Councillor Porthouse being Vice Chair for the same reasons I've opposed it as the Chair.
so then he cannot vote for him when it comes to a vote.
It's not a matter of that, Nicola. It's legal, it's constitutional. It's not me just disliking someone. We've got to go by the Constitution.
But it's also by the Constitution that you're only able to have a debate on a report at that time in the meeting, and that's passed. So the rule switches a little bit for when you want to speak when we're in the decision-making part, but you're just then trying to point out other rules that aren't, and I'm just failing to follow why that's okay for you but not okay for others. So you had your opportunity to speak on the report when the debate was open. That's now moved. That's closed. That's a decision.
Listen, it's not going to be an open floor. We're going to move on, okay? Let's try and act like responsible adults. You've got people watching this on live stream. They voted you in because they respect you. I know they did. And I'm trying to keep order here the best I can. But cheers, John. When there's people shouting, oh, it's not working. We've got to be professional for the people who voted you in. It's not too much to ask. Cheers, buddy. Nick away up, flower.
You're just about to take a vote on a show of hands as to whether you want Councillor Guy to be the Vice Chair or Councillor
Right.
Porthouse to be the Vice Chair.
Councillor Guy, you wanted to speak on this, didn't you? Right, so. So, are you going to let me finish? Thank you. With regards to the Vice Chair of Audit Committee, there's a nomination for Councillor Guy to be considered as Vice Chair. Is that seconded? Is that agreed?
No. We need to probably do a show of hands, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Right, let's have a show of hands. For Councillor Guy.
need 5.
You need 5? You got 5? 5 hands? 1, 2, 3. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Would you like me to do that in the same way?
Yes, please, Nicola, if you don't mind.
So in the same way as before, I'll just read out your name, and if you can say Guy or Porthouse or abstention instead of for, against or not voting. Councillor Barclay?
Porthouse.
Councillor Brennan?
Guy.
Councillor Brown?
Councillor Guy.
Councillor Carter?
Porthouse.
Councillor Clare?
Porthouse.
Councillor Coombs?
Guy.
Sorry, I can't. Sorry. Councillor Cunningham? Councillor Davies?
Guy.
Councillor Dawes? Councillor Paydeen?
Porthouse.
Councillor Esteen?
Porthouse.
Councillor Dixon?
Porthouse.
Councillor Ellison? Councillor Foggin? Councillor Ford?
Guy.
Councillor Foreman? Councillor Francis?
Guy.
Councillor Gibson? Councillor Guy?
Guy.
Councillor Ginn?
Guy.
Councillor Hamilton?
Guy.
Councillor Herbert?
Guy.
Councillor Keegan? Councillor Kennedy? Councillor Kilgour? Councillor Kilgour? Councillor Lamont?
Porthouse.
Councillor Leask? Councillor K. Maxwell?
Porthouse.
Councillor N. Maxwell? Councillor McCabe?
Porthouse.
Councillor McHugh? Councillor Mellon? Councillor Myers?
Councillor Guy.
Councillor Oliver?
Guy.
Councillor Owens Palmer?
Sorry, Guy.
Councillor Porthouse? Councillor Proudlock? Councillor K. Roberts?
Guy.
Councillor T. Roberts?
Guy.
Councillor Robertson? Councillor Smith?
Guy.
Councillor Strike? Councillor J. Taylor?
Porthouse.
Councillor R. Taylor?
Councillor Porthouse.
Councillor Traynor? Councillor Welsh? Councillor Wood?
Guy.
Councillor Yeh?
Councillor Andrew Guy.
Sorry, I got completely confused there as you said. Andrew. Right. So, Councillor Porthouse is the Vice Chair with 27 votes. Councillor Guy received 21 votes.
That's it, folks. Councillor Porthouse is Vice Chair with 27 votes. Councillor Guy with 21. 21. So, is that agreed? Yeah, excellent. Moving on. It was fantastic. In respect of Jarrow and Bowling Calf, there's been a proposal for Councillor Hamilton to replace Councillor Oliver as Chair of the committee. Is that agreed? No. Is that agreed? Not yet.
So we'll probably have to do another show.
I know it is, aye. We are now going to have another show of hands. Not yet. Right. Those for Councillor Hamilton to replace Councillor Oliver as Chair of the committee. Show of hands for yes. No.
So those in favour of Councillor Hamilton?
3.
And then we need those in favour of Councillor Oliver remaining as
Yep.
the Chair.
And those in... Oh. Have we got 5 hands for named vote?
No. Right. So
Nope.
now, so it's Councillor Oliver. Show of hands for those in favour of Councillor Oliver to remain the Chair.
Well, that's a yes for Councillor Oliver, I believe. Mm. Any abstentions? Wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Imagine this council changing hands.
26
Wow.
abstentions.
Isn't it just?
But then there were 17 votes against and there were 17 votes for Councillor Oliver to remain, 3 votes for Councillor Hamilton. So on
So
that
we'll have
basis,
Councillor Oliver remain.
remains.
The vote is 17 votes for Councillor Oliver to remain. So, Councillor Oliver, congratulations.
It must be noted as well, though, I'm sorry if it wasn't on purpose, but Councillor Hamilton didn't vote in any way, so you didn't abstain or anything. So that's why there'll be a number missing from the numbers in the room.
Right, there's only one nomination with regards to the Jarrow and Boland Cav Vice Chair. And it's the appointment of Councillor S. Dean. Is that agreed? Agreed. Excellent, thank you. Right. Now moving on, consider and agree the suggested change to the wording of Scrutiny Procedure Rule 15.2 as set out in paragraph 32 of the report. Is that agreed?
Not agreed. Not agreed. Can I have a name vote, please, Mr. Chair?
Not making this easier.
So there's a name vote request. They need 5 members for
Right.
the vote.
Do I have 5?
The point of information is really about only something that somebody's just said, but it's up to the Mayor. Councillor Owens-Palmer would like a point of information.
Could you make it brief?
Indeed I will, Mayor. I'm very concerned about this amendment because what it states is that instead of 5 members...
It's the same as the points made by
Is it?
Councillor Robertson before. Like, probably should have said this in the debate part.
It's not the constitutional change.
It's all part of the same report.
But you're sort of technically saying the same thing, but just wording it differently. If you know
Am I
what I
allowed
mean.
to say it now, Mayor? Because I wasn't
So
aware.
we're going to move on, unfortunately. If you're just repeating it.
I'm not.
Because we have got quite a lot to go through. So.
I think going forward, members, like the report's the report in its entirety. So if you've got anything you ever want to say on a report, you should just say it. Because once you move on from the debate side of the discussion, you then get into the decision making, and it's not really constitutionally acceptable for the Mayor to then allow the debate to open up again in that part. So just for going forward. So there was a name vote request. There needs to be 5 people.
Did we have 5? 2, 3, yeah. Well, yeah.
So, you're happy for me to...
Yep, carry on, yeah.
This relates to recommendation E. Councillor Brown keeps putting his hand up, Mr Mayor. I don't know if there's something...
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I might appear a bit green here, but I'm going to say this. In taking this vote, Nicola, and moving forward, am I right in thinking we might have a little bit of a discussion over this Rule 15.2? And no.
So again, it's the same point. So it's just like any other report that you ever have in this chamber. So the report's presented, it's presented by a particular member.
Yes.
The Mayor then asks if it's seconded, and that seconder seconds it and then has the opportunity to speak on it. The Mayor then says, colleagues, we'll open up this report now for discussion for members to speak or ask any questions.
Yeah.
He did. He said that. So then you can speak on whatever part of the report you want to speak on. And once the Mayor feels like he's had a good flavour of discussion to whatever element he decides, we then move into end of debate, decision making. And unfortunately, we're in the decision making part, which we wouldn't then ordinarily keep opening up debates around each of the decisions. But it's up to the Mayor whether or not he wants to allow discussions on each part as well as the debate that happened previously.
Well, as an independent, I would crave his grace and favour for me to be able to, as an independent councillor, raise an issue about it. Thank you.
Do that for Councillor Brown. I would suggest you have to also then allow
Well,
Councillor
no, we've got too much to go through. We really have got too much to go through.
So on that basis, there's a name vote, no discussion, further discussion. This is on recommendation E. So you're being asked whether you're for, against or abstaining.
Which rule has been breached, Councillor? You'll be good at it, haven't you?
8.11. Sorry, should have stood. 8.11. Questions by members on reports of the Cabinet or committees. An elected member of the Council may ask the Leader of the Council or the Chairperson of a committee any question without notice upon an item of the report of the Cabinet or a committee when the item has been received or under consideration. I'd like to ask the leader a question, if you don't mind.
And that was the part where the Mayor says, does any member want to speak or ask any questions on the report? And you had that opportunity. So to suggest that you haven't, I think is unfair.
Well, it says you can ask any time.
But the opportunity's been gone, John.
When the report's under debate, we're out of that.
It's under
now.
consideration right now.
Could you please sit down? Thank you.
Councillor Guy's got his hand up, but I don't know if it's a point of order.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I'm just conscious there's now 3 members that are confused at the point of where debate happens and doesn't happen. And to be fair, I feel like I missed the part of the debate as well, that key point. I respect the monitoring officer's advice and appreciate and respect that. I do feel that would probably help from a small debate around this item. There are multiple members that would like to speak on it, and I think for the interest of changing our constitution, a couple of minutes of afforded wouldn't hurt.
Well, we've passed the point for debating, so...
I appreciate, but it wasn't clear.
Right,
it really wasn't clear, and I
if
think
it wasn't
multiple
clear,
members...
I apologise for that, but we have passed the point of debate.
Exactly the same wording as it's used on every single report. So I'm just curious as to how it hasn't been clear this time.
Point of information.
Totally up to the Mayor.
Right, we're going to move on because...
Consistency for all members.
I think the reason for the confusion is that I proposed the amendment at the start of the debate on this change. And so members were not able to then debate that amendment and speak clearly on their objection to this constitutional change. It was a constitutional change that was made in an extraordinary meeting. It wasn't on the council diary. So members of the Constitution Committee were not able to attend and feed into this. It is a recommendation that was rejected by the Constitution Committee in addition to that. So bringing this constitutional change to the council for approval has not gone through I would argue, a fair process where with, the maximum amount of oversight. This is a massive change to how call-in is structured across the council and puts us as an outlier in the country.
So we'll move on.
Mr. Mayor, can I just say... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Mr Mayor, thank you, and thanks, Councillor Davies, for your comments. Can I just say, following the last council meeting, annual council meeting, there was 4 suggestions had come through to the Constitution Committee for the Constitution Committee to look at. Now, it is October. There was a couple of items that were really, really time sensitive. So we held a Constitution Committee meeting in public where members of the Constitution Committee were invited to attend the meeting. There was a full debate by the members at that Constitution Committee, Councillor Davies. It has been through the process fairly, open and transparent in public, Councillor Davies, with the opportunity for members to attend. There was also an opportunity for substitute to attend if they were available. Obviously, clearly, there was no substitute attended from the parties, Councillor Davies.
Greens have no substitute.
Well, just anybody who has a substitute was given the opportunity. So I just want to say that meeting was given the right notice, and these were debated in the public meeting to a length. Thank you.
Can you be brief, John, please?
Very brief. Where we are now is we've got...
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Councillor Robertson, my mistake.
It's up to you, but if you allow Councillor
Well, I'm up now.
I don't see why
I'm
you
up now.
allow Councillor Brown and Councillor...
It's only one sentence. Can I speak? Thank you. What's happening here is a repeat of what happened in this chamber 6 months ago. We've got the Constitution Committee and we've got the Constitution Committee Working Group. The Working Group is sliding things under the door and the Constitution Committee is doing...
Mr Mayor, but as monitoring officer, there's 2 things that have been said there that is not, not true. It was not a working group of Constitution Committee. It was a proper constituted committee meeting, and it was a recommendation from the Constitution Committee that this recommendation be made to full council. I haven't just made that up. So I think there's 2 very important points there that I can't just allow to be said without challenge. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Right. John, that's out of common decency. Would you like to speak, please?
Sorry. Thank you, Mayor. My concern about this is that to date, any 5 members of any political group could call in a decision. And this amendment now says that any 3 members of the council, not including co-opted members, together with the chairperson and vice chairperson of the Overview and Scrutiny Coordinating and Calling Committee, object to it and call it in by giving notice to the Chief Executive. I think it's definitely a case of teachers, students marking their own homework if it is now no longer possible for any members of other groups or parties to call in something without the agreement of the chair and the vice chair, who are part of the leading party and who thereby would be calling their own cabinet into question. I think it takes away an awful lot of the way that we can actually call things into question here. It's removing that, and it's absolutely undermining democracy in this chamber. I think it's appalling.
Thank you, Councillor. We should move on to the vote. No? Right. We're moving on, Councillor Robertson.
I don't know if you want to allow Councillor Brown to speak because he wanted to as well.
Would it be brief, Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem.
I'm grateful for the opportunity just to raise this as an independent who isn't in a group at the moment. Where it says on page 34, call-in submissions, call-in provides a mechanism for councillors to intervene when they feel that a decision is made by the Cabinet needs to be revisited or possibly changed. It provides a key check and a balance to the Leader and Cabinet system of governance. It should, however, be regarded as a measure that is only needed in exceptional circumstances, not a measure of last resort. Rather than day-to-day, it sits in the context of a range of other tools at Scrutiny's disposal to influence decision-making. So it's not to be abused, but where it says, Mr. Mayor, rather than day-to-day, we live in times where there's pressure on the organisation, on every ward, throughout the borough, throughout the region, throughout the country. It's not going to get any better, it's going to get worse. And so if we go along with a basic assumption, you know, oh, well, this is just a day-to-day thing, it isn't. And for myself, the final gambit would be, you know, this change. Well, there's one other thing. I'd like to know who the person is that suggested this and brought it in. Are we allowed to inquire who proposed this? Maybe not. Silence says it all. But finally, Mr. Mayor, it's just to look and see, you know, how this impacts certain people, including the people in Horsey Hill with regards to the cycleway scheme. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're
going to have to move on.
Councillor Robertson's already spoken.
Yeah, we're going to have to move on, I'm afraid.
Right, so there's been a request for a named vote. There was 5 people. We've had another debate about it, so we're back into recommendation E. I'll read out your name, and you will have to vote whether you are for, against, or abstaining on whether you agree the suggested change to wording to Scrutiny Procedure Rule 15.2. Councillor Barclay.
Agree.
Councillor Brennan.
Against it, not agree.
Councillor Brown.
Against.
Councillor Carter.
Agree.
Councillor Clare.
Agree.
Councillor Coombs.
Against.
Councillor Cunningham. Councillor Davies.
Against.
Councillor Dawes. Councillor P. Dean.
Agree.
Councillor S. Dean.
Agreed.
Councillor Dixon. Agreed. Councillor Ellison. Agreed. Councillor Foggin.
Against.
Councillor Ford.
Against.
Councillor Foreman. Agreed. Councillor Francis.
Against.
Councillor Gibson. Agreed. Councillor Guy. Oh, he's left the chamber. Councillor Ginn.
Against.
Councillor Hamilton.
Against.
Councillor Herbert.
Against.
Councillor Keegan. Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Kilgour. Councillor Lamont.
Agreed.
Councillor Leask. Councillor K. Maxwell.
Agree.
Councillor N. Maxwell. Agree. Councillor McCabe. Agree. Councillor McHugh. Agree. Councillor Mellon. Agree. Councillor Myers.
Against.
Councillor Oliver.
Against.
Councillor Owens-Palmer.
Against.
Councillor Porthouse. Agree. Councillor Proudrock. Agree. Councillor K. Roberts.
Against.
Councillor T. Roberts.
Against.
Councillor Robertson.
You're all getting voted out in
Councillor
May.
Robertson.
Against.
Councillor Smith.
Agree.
Councillor Strike. Councillor J Taylor.
Agree.
Councillor R Taylor.
Against.
Councillor Traynor. Councillor Welsh. Councillor Wood.
Against.
Councillor Yeh.
Against.
Missing Councillor Guy.
If he's not in the chamber, you can't. So I've got 26 for, 20 against, 1 abstention. So on that basis, Mr Mayor, that wording is agreed with 26 votes for, 20 against and 1 abstention.
We have 26 for, 20 against and 1 abstention. So that's agreed. Yeah. No. Can I move on? This is consider and agree the additional wording to be included in Scrutiny Procedure Rule 15.2 as set out in paragraph 36 within the report. Is that agreed? Excellent. Right, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Excuse me. Thought so dry. The next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Corporate Affairs to request a dispensation. I will ask Councillor Tracy Dixon, Leader of the Council, to present this report. Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Colleagues, this is a relatively straightforward report for consideration that relates to a request from Councillor Curtis for a dispensation under the 6-month rule in Section 85 of the Local Government Act 1972, so as to excuse her from non-attendance at council and committee meetings during her period of maternity. Colleagues, I hope that you will agree that supporting a fellow colleague is a way that is absolutely necessary and the right thing to do. It would be a great shame if Councillor Curtis were to cease to be an elected member of this council during her maternity leave, and I therefore recommend that a dispensation is granted by Borough Council today for Councillor Curtis. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dixon. Is that seconded?
Seconded, Mr Mayor.
Is that agreed? Okay. Are there any members, or does anyone wish to speak? Sorry?
Absolutely.
That would be ideal.
Absolutely.
Be ideal.
You've gone straight on to work with the baby.
But it's very decent of you, Councillor Robertson. It's very decent of you to say that. See, we all can work together.
So we're just on to 21 now.
Yeah, well.
Page 21.
Yeah, we can. That's my page. Right. The next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Business and Resources regarding Modern Slavery Transparency Statement 2024-25. I will ask Councillor Jim Foreman, Lead Member of Governance, Finance and Corporate Service, to present his report. Councillor Foreman.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, we don't like to think that there may be modern slavery taking place behind closed doors in our neighbourhoods. But the reality is that this is a horrible crime that strips victims of their freedom and dignity that happens with alarming regularity. It happens in plain sight in safe and ordinary-seeming communities and businesses across the country and potentially in our own backyard. The latest Home Office data shows that there were nearly 20,000 potential victims of modern slavery identified in the UK last year. In this context, it is so important that we take our obligations under the Modern Slavery Act 2015 seriously, which means making sure that we are doing everything we can to reduce the risks of inadvertently contributing to modern slavery in our business activity or our supply chains. Our 2024-25 Modern Slavery Transparency Statement, which we refresh on an annual basis in line with the government guidance, helps us to do that. It helps us to understand the risks and helps us check that we have the appropriate policies and processes to spot the warning signs when buying goods and services and managing our people and operations. As a council, we also go beyond that. We use our transparency statement to go into detail on other activities we do across services to tackle slavery, in line with the 5 themes of our modern slavery strategy: identity, respond, prevent, disrupt, and engage. Over the last year, we have also continued raise awareness of modern slavery with staff and partners. You can see this in this year's statement and how the wording of our clauses in contract places greater responsibilities in our suppliers. We have also worked closely with regional partners to form an anti-slavery network. This has meant offering general and targeted training, creating new resources to help the on-the-ground staff recognise when something doesn't look right. We also share information with partners, including those who work in higher risk sectors such as care and those who are part of our poverty group. It's so important that we do everything we can to ensure that we can protect and support victims and make it as hard as possible for criminals to get away with this horrendous crime. That's why I'm very proud of all the work that we are doing across our different services in this critical area. This is a crucial work to this council, and I'm sure all members across the chamber would agree it is vital we keep on top of this issue. Mr. Mayor, colleagues, I would ask you to endorse this year's Modern Slavery Transparency Statement. Chair, I move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Foreman. Is that seconded?
I'll second it.
Is that agreed? Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Are there any questions from anyone? Yes, Councillor. I see Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the statement. Okay, so I'm sure that we all recognise the violation of human rights, and it is important that we remain vigilant. It is clear that one group who particularly is at risk of violations are those who are seeking asylum within our country. And although I understand this is not a local decision, I cannot help but feel that by not allowing asylum seekers to gain employment and causing them to live on £49.18 per week, our government is making them, rather than protecting them, from being vulnerable to slavery. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Yeo? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Foreman, for the report. It was just I fully support the report, so thank you for presenting it. There was an unprotected, unrestricted recommendation from the Contracts and Commissioning panel last year relating to the prevention of modern slavery and the deployment of continuous monitoring equipment services to our supply chain. The world of sanctions, the world of adverse media, the world of modern slavery is extremely complex, and these tools could help us to have a much greater oversight on the money we spend both in this borough and around the world. I just want to know, Councillor Foreman, if that recommendation made it to yourself in the Cabinet, and if it did, what discussion has been taking place, and if we can expect to see that technology in next year's report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Foreman?
Chair, there's lots and lots of things being discussed at Cabinet, and modern slavery was one of the ones which was discussed not so long back, and it was through this statement that we are putting out today, where we will really look into whatever actions our partners, whether they be local partners or national partners or international partners, are doing to make sure that we don't get caught in any traps, as the other councillor said, with regards to immigrants, and those we really do make it our business to ensure that we follow everything we say in this statement.
Thanks, Councillor Foreman. Any more questions? Councillor Guy?
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I don't have any speeches prepared. I'm very conscious that modern slavery was actually found in our supply chains, and contracts and commissioning. Sorry, modern slavery was actually found in our own supply chains. that was what Councillor Yare's question was about, specifically what have we done to actually look through our supply chains. It's got nothing to do with our local modern slavery, it's actually international modern slavery specifically.
Thanks, Councillor Guy. Like you respond, Councillor Foran?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, he's asking for specific cases and specific figures. I can certainly provide them to him if he sees us afterwards or just leaves the relevant question. I'll make sure he gets an answer in writing.
That's fantastic. You happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
That's
Thank
lovely.
you.
Thank you so much. Right, we'll move on. Colleagues, the Council recommend to endorse and approve the publication on the website of the modern draft slavery transparency statement attached at Appendix 1. Is that agreed? Agreed. Fantastic. Thank you, colleagues. The next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Corporate Affairs regarding housing complaints, compliments and comments policy update. I will once again ask Councillor June Foreman, Lead Member of Governance, Finance and Corporate Services, to present his report. Councillor Foreman.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, this policy is in front of the Borough Council today to formally adopt a council-owned housing complaints, compliments and comments policy, removing references to the former South Tyneside homes and aligning to our other policies and the Council's proud values. Last year, South Tyneside Council's housing service were brought back under council control in the biggest change in social housing in the borough for almost 2 decades. Landlords have a legal duty to have a complaints policy in place to manage housing-related complaints, and I take these duties seriously since last November the Council has adopted the previous South Tyneside Homes complaints and compliments policy into our own procedures to ensure that we continue to meet our statutory obligations while allowing our residents to provide feedback on the housing services they receive, whether positive or negative. Compliments are as important to us as complaints, as are other comments, all of which together help us improve our service. A complaints policy is vital for maintaining trust, transparency and efficiency, providing a clear and accessible process for addressing grievances and demonstrating our commitment to excellent service. It also holds the Council accountable and provides a vital method of addressing issues. All feedback is an opportunity for improvement, and if we have recurring themes, we can address them, for example, by streamlining processes, improving communication, or strengthening practices. Mr Mayor, I ask that the Council approves the adoption of the updated complaints, compliments and comments policy. Chair, I move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Foreman. Is that seconded? Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. To be somewhat of a broken record on this report, last time it came to us, I'd like to raise the issue of compliments. At the moment, this report just about says that you should submit a compliment to the complaints pooled inbox, which feels a little counterintuitive, and I welcome the changes to the council website since last time I spoke on this, which is leave feedback. So I'd ask in the next iteration of this report, we perhaps create a pooled inbox for compliments, both for the council's work and for South Tyneside Homes, and so we can better formally collate positive feedback as well as the vital importance of criticism.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Move on now. Yes, sir. What would you like to say?
What's the title of this report? Because my papers are mixed up. I've got about 400 pages here. What's the title of the report?
Housing complaints.
It is.
Compliments.
Housing complaints and compliments.
Complaints, compliments and comments policy update.
Right. So mine's a compliment.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So in my experience as a Primrose councillor, since the housing come over from South Tyneside Homes, the outcomes I've had on behalf of my residents for repairs, residents that's needed reassessments for abandon, etc., I cannot fault it. And I'm not going to do what some councillors do and say something nice and then attack you. It was really good responses now, and I'm over the moon and show me residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson. So, colleagues, members are asked to consider and agree the draft policy to ensure that the Council's policy is up to date and aligns with the Housing Ombudsman's Complaint Handling Code. Is the policy agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Excuse me. Next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Corporate Affairs regarding the spend on community, civic and rural hospitality. I will again ask Councillor Jim Foreman, just stand up, lead member for Governance, Finance and Corporate Service, to present his report. Councillor Foreman.
Thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, are you declaring an interest?
Good point.
Mr. Mayor, members are asked to note the proactive approach we are taking with our third annual report to spend on hospitality. When agreeing the Constitution, all members have signed up to the protocol of which the Council offers hospitality. Hospitality is extended in a range of circumstances, typically at events that help us promote and recognise civic pride in our community. I'd like to remind all members that this is not about how much the civic party or any individual mayor has spent during their time in office. Events such as...
Councillor Robertson. Sorry, Councillor, carry on.
Thanks very much. It's not very often I get barracked. Events such as Remembrance Day, Armed Forces, Anzac Day, Summer Festival, and so on take place each year whenever the sitting mayor is, whoever the sitting mayor is. There is an amount of hospitality that is made in the course of an individual mayor's duties. But as you can see in the report, this really is a very small amount. I believe it is a nominal amount that pays dividends in how much impact it has for an individual or organisation when they are invited to the Mayor's Parlour for refreshments, and a thank you for their hard work. Our Civic Office also works very closely with the Lord Lieutenant's Office to highlight the incredible people in our community in Borough who go above and beyond, volunteering their time to help others. This is what civic pride is really about, and I fully support us spending a relatively small amount of funding to recognise the incredible hard work and dedication that is going on across South Tyneside. This is also our third year in proactively promoting diversity and inclusivity, including hosting the International Mr. Gay World Contest right here in South Tyneside. It's important that we occasionally host a prestigious event which benefits our entire community by raising awareness and helping community cohesion, whilst also giving us a positive spotlight. We know the people particularly ask about our spend on alcohol and whether it is right to offer this kind of hospitality. Following comments from across the chamber, I can advise that we now use it at an at-cost bar at our events where it's logically worthwhile to do so. This kind of paid bar may not be right for every event, but this is something we question ourselves on during the planning of each event. We have also reconfigured events to have a simple welcome drink on arrival or removed free alcohol completely, such as the former Mayoress at Home event or the sitting Sunday Mayor's parade and service. We have included a total amount of spend on alcohol, which is included in the council report. Mr. Mayor, I move the report.
Thank you, Councillor Foreman. Is that seconded? Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Is it agreed? Agreed. Thank you.
Should we be allowing members to speak or ask any
No
questions
problem.
before it's agreed?
Are there any questions on this? Any comments? Councillor Robertson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem.
Now, in the papers I've seen, amongst other things, that there's charges made for the drink sometimes. Now, I've read the papers, and you may be able to tell us I'm wrong or it's in there, but I cannot see any figures for what income there was of drinks that were paid for. Does anyone know if they're there? I don't know. I couldn't see them or find them. It says we charge for the drinks, whatever, but I cannot see any listed. So, on the list of the spending, where the events is listed, the third one down, and this is not an attack on Councillor Cunningham or anybody else, the third one down, it says annual mayor rest at home, £1,800. Now, again, annual to me means once. I may be wrong if that happens more than once, but £1,800. Yet above it, the annual summer festival was only £1,500. I was having caviar at the annual mayor's thing. I was having deer champagne. Where's the justification for £1,800? Can we see a breakdown of that, please, sometime? Yeah, the annual mayor making, £300. Done for pennies. £300 for a ceremony like that. But the mayoress at home, £1,800. Can I please ask for a breakdown of that figure? That'll do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Councillor Foreman, like to speak?
Chair, I mean, he's got the figures in his hand. If he wants a breakdown further of the figures, he knows exactly which officer to go to, and I'm sure they will give him the correct figures he's asking for.
Can I respond to that, Mr. Mayor, please?
Yes, please, yeah.
Thank you very much. What you're not realising, Councillor Foreman, we are elected all over for the people. These papers tonight are published on the council's website. This meeting is streamed live for the residents to see. I'm asking the question on behalf of the people that voted me in. I don't need to or want to go round the back doors. I'm asking for an explanation to be given to full council, not hid under the carpet. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure Councillor Foreman will pass that information on to you, Councillor Robertson, in due time. So, colleagues, members, I recommend that the Council notes the information contained within this report, which is provided to support openness and transparency. Is that noted? Thank you. Next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Corporate Affairs regarding the communication strategy. I will ask Councillor Tracy Dixon, leader of the Council, to present this report. Councillor Dixon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, this report accompanies a new communication strategy for South Tyneside Council. This communication strategy sets out how the Council will communicate with many of its audiences, residents, tenants, employees, partners and other stakeholders. I'm really invested in the community engagement and I regularly visit residents and organisations and businesses to discuss their thoughts and concerns and also to tell them how the Council can help. But none of us can be everywhere all of the time, and that is why a really robust communication strategy is so important. The strategy is a clear commitment, it is transparent, and it's an inclusive communication that supports the delivery of our 20-year vision and 3-year council strategy and the transformational work of our council change programme. The strategy sets out a modern, evidence-based, data-rich approach built on an insight from over 60 stakeholders, the 2021-22 Ipsos Mori survey, residence poll, and employee surveys. It addressed 5 key themes: modernising working practice to increase community engagement, aligning communication activity with council priorities, managing the council's reputation through openness and transparency, reviewing communication support to members and decision makers, and strengthening internal communication. At its very heart, the strategy is guided by our proud values: using plain English and accessible formats, prioritizing digital-first approaches while including those without digital access, creating engaging content tailored to our audiences, and using data using data to measure success and improvement. It acknowledges our diverse audiences and the need to tailor and target our communications. It provides the principles to ensure cost-effective use of budgets and a sustainable approach to print and digital communications. Mr Mayor, without this strategy, we risk fragmenting messaging, missed opportunities to engage, and the lack of clarity in how we communicate our services and ambitions to the people that we all serve. Mr Mayor, I therefore recommend that Council agrees to adopt the communication strategy as set out in the report. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dixon. Is that seconded? Now, are there any questions, or does any member wish to speak on the report? Yes, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And thank you for the strategy. I've got 3 quick points. First, on environmental impact. While going digital is often seen as positive, we shouldn't overlook the hidden costs. For example, the electronic ad boards, which use around £100,000 worth of electricity each year, and contribute to light pollution. Also, if AI is being used in comms, we need to consider its environmental footprint too. Second, how is the Council's comms strategy going to deal with fake news? Are there ways to respond and set the record straight when misinformation spreads? Finally, looking ahead, how will the strategy cope with elected members who publicly oppose the Council's messaging, especially on issues like pride or equality? It's something we need to prepare for. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Respond, Councillor Dixon. Someone else had a hand up, I can see who it was. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Sorry, I missed you out.
I welcome the leaders mentioned just a few moments ago in the welter of dialogue and language that we use to try and keep it succinct and speak in plain English. It's very important because we language our world and our policies follow, I guess. But I'm just curious on page 111 where it mentions, with again all the acronyms and everything else, it mentions Rosie and Oasis. Are we bound to say, yeah, mad for it? Tops. Thank you very much.
Well said. Any other questions? Councillor Yeh.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you for the report. Just a quick comment. In the strategy itself, it states that the KPIs for our performance are yet to be set, and they'll be coming, I believe, on a quarterly basis to Cabinet. I just wondered if that could also be considered to be referred to the Scrutiny work programmes as well, just so that members outside of the Cabinet can be involved in supporting the comms strategy. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we'll get the data shared as and when it's produced, Councillor. Yeah, thank you for your comments. Councillor Taylor, with regard to your comments, thank you for that. With regard to the fake news and the misinformation, we do monitor our own social media feeds and our channels. It's very difficult to actually deal with others from outside the organisations, but when we can, we actually put the facts out there and make sure that it is factual. So we try and monitor best we possibly can within our channels, but obviously, you know, external, it's very, very difficult. But thank you.
So, is that report agreed? Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Thank you. Colleagues, Borough Council excuse me, I recommend to agree to the adoption of a communication strategy to support the delivery of communications activity within a framework as set out in the report. So we have agreed on that. Thank you so much. Forgive me. The next segment of business is to consider a report of the Director of Place and Strategy regarding homelessness and rough sleeping strategy 2025-2030. I will ask Councillor Jane Carter, lead member for Housing and Community Safety, to present the report. Councillor Carter.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This report is brought to Borough Council to agree the publication of the Council's new homelessness and rough sleeper strategy. The strategy has been developed following our homelessness review at the end of 2024. The publication of a homelessness review and development of an associated strategy is a statutory requirement. Since the last review, we have had a number of significant national events, such as COVID and the cost of living crisis. This has had an impact on homelessness in a number of ways, and we have also witnessed greater pressures throughout the housing market. South Tyneside Council have recorded an increase in presentations for housing and homelessness advice by an average of 9% per year over the 5-year review period, whilst also seeing a decrease in homelessness preventions and more households reaching crisis point. There is now a national crisis in terms of temporary accommodation placement figures. I am committed to a joined-up approach, which is why this strategy is so important, alongside the other crucial work we are doing on housing and support services. On this front, we are also fortunate to be well supported by the National Government's strong commitments to house building. The strategy sets out the priorities the Council have identified to tackle and prevent homelessness in a supportive way in 2025 to 2030, We have extensively consulted with internal and external stakeholders and those with lived experience who are central to making this strategy effective. We want homelessness and its prevention to be everyone's business, so that all our partners consider how their work fits into a much wider homeless prevention system. The strategy outlines 5 priorities throughout the period 2025 to 2030, which we feel are essential to tackling and preventing homelessness in South Tyneside. These priorities are set out in paragraph 12 of the report. These are to enhance upstream prevention, strengthen our crisis response, enhance access to suitable and affordable housing, focused on accurate, timely data to shape our service delivery, and work closely with advice and support services. The strategy outlines related policies and strategies and the current homelessness offer we have in the borough. We will continue to enhance this through partnership working and learning from others. We continue to commit resources to ensure that rough sleeping is rare, brief and non-recurring, and have maintained a low figure of people sleeping rough, though one rough sleeper is still too many. South Tyneside does not have an entrenched rough sleeper problem, but we do have individuals that fall in and out of services. Preventing rough sleeping remains our goal, and we work hard to find a suitable solution swiftly when incidents occur. A detailed action plan will be co-produced following the publication of the strategy, and progress will be monitored and reported back through the Housing and Environment Scrutiny Committee. Council are asked to agree the new homelessness and rough sleeper strategy and to agree to regular updates and feedback from progress made against the strategy. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Carter. Is that seconded? Now, are there any members who wish to ask any questions? Councillor Davies. No, sorry, before we go, is it Davies or Davis?
I don't mind.
What's okay? No.
I say Davies, I hear Davis.
Keep getting
absolutely
confused.
Fine. I commend the council for this report and Councillor Carter for bringing it. I think just a reflection on a case that has successfully closed this month. It was a young lady that entered homelessness 5 years ago, entered temporary accommodation during COVID, and then has been sofa surfing ever since, going between friends and family for over 3 years. And the figure that really jumped out to me in this report is asked to leave family, 1,524 those are causes, so that may well be more than, well, probably more than 1,524 people, because there may well be families in that figure too. And the main reason for this is, we haven't built enough homes. We have a private rented sector that is completely unregulated, largely, and you can do far too much, far too quickly to so many vulnerable people. And the work we need to absolutely strengthen is those that are sofa surfing and those that are hidden homeless. And this report makes some steps towards that, but because it is so hard to track that data, we need to get much better at gathering that as best we can. Be that getting behind the doors of our estate, but also obviously making sure that we're open and accessible amongst the community as much as possible. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Brown and Councillor Rodson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to reiterate the comments of Councillor Davies to Councillor Carter for an excellent exposition. It should be intolerable and insufferable in this day and age that anybody goes to bed hungry or faced with a prospect that in the morning they may not be hungry, but they're going to be out in the street. 5 weeks ago, I was given a late call coming out of one meeting, and how this person found me was a long shot, but he did. And I ended up on Ocean Road. It cost £12.50 standing this poor man who had no money and was hungry and faced the prospect the next day of being out of the temporary accommodation he managed to find for himself on Ocean Road. And but for the level of £71.60, I think he would have had 2 more days, which would have bridged from then to his benefits starting to come through and having another extension to his tenure. But I do accept that the Borough and the Council are wedded and committed to the eradication of homelessness, the eradication of rough sleeping. Fortunately, the shorter nights and longer days were coming in, but it was a real prospect that this poor man was going to then have to try and find a bench or somewhere temporarily, at least for one night, to sleep rough. And then I think of the changes in housing in the private sector in particular, or people because of other circumstances, death, bereavement, having to sell another property and push people out of where they are. And so while we look towards homelessness and the awful prospect of having to sleep rough, just beyond that, there are people with a little bit more security of tenure, but they still look towards repossession, and they're still faced with the prospect of other circumstances, particularly in the private sector, where somebody may be faced with the prospect that they're going to be out because the poor people having to take that step feel guilty about it, but they're having to do it to move it out. And I say that, and again, I'm not banging my drum, but I remember Bamber Avenue in 1972 helping to start shelter in South Shields. So I commend Councillor Carter for a report, and we must continue, but it's the tip of a very big iceberg. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I think you'd all agree, we do take, basically where we live, we take it for granted. And you see people on the street, you think, but for the grace of God, why? And you've just got to think of these things. Councillor Robertson.
Thank you. This is not going to contradict the compliment that I made before about South Tyneside housing and what have you, and it's not meant to. So where it says, and thank you for the report, where it says about homelessness, I'm not talking about the rough sleeping. I've dealt with the rough sleeping the best I can. I've had help of the officers at the time. But the homelessness, what I have come across, and I know other councillors have, is people wanting to get on the list or on the list and they cannot get any further, whether it's a record that they've got, whether it's arrears from 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? But then what I can't understand is how people are allocated properties on estates, and I know a lot of councillors have suffered this, and a whole street is ruined within 3 months, right? So this vetting is belt and bracelet when it comes to some, but it's not when it comes to others. And we've had cases where, without saying the ward, they've been moved out of one ward and moved to the Primrose ward. And the amount of bother that was in that ward has been repeated and amplified when they came to the Primrose ward. So it's not a dig, it's about the scrutiny and how it's allocated. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, Councillor Robson. Councillor,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Carter, for the report. I really appreciate the report and all of its content. I just want to draw some members' attention to something that I don't know if everyone is aware of, is the severe weather emergency protocol. So when weather conditions are so severe that they become a threat to life, we can declare as an authority that we're in that period. And normally we have to owe someone a homelessness duty to be able to give them the protection that they rightfully deserve. During that period, we don't. We are able to offer it to anyone that we have the capacity to help. So please, I urge all members of this chamber, if you get the notification through that we're in that period, if anyone needs help, please be there to support them. And I'll give compliments to the housing team for how well they understand that protocol and how they implement it. But at that time of year, more than ever, it's life and death for some people. So please keep an eye out for that notification. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
well said, Councillor. Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to comment on what Councillor Robertson's just said, where the housing strategy is, and we've got homelessness, and we have, and like I say, there's a lot of people who are homeless, not their own fault. But when it comes to allocation to some people, and like Councillor Robertson just said, you're giving houses to people and they're not vetting them properly. There is a big breakdown between the housing officers, the vetting, and the police. Because even councillors in here, I don't know about the rest of you, but we're getting to know who's going on to the estates, and they're nothing but troublemakers. So we're finding out before the officers do what these people are like, and then they're putting them in there, and once they're in there, they're causing mayhem in the whole estate, and nothing's being done. They're just sitting back and letting it happen. You've got antisocial behaviour, you've got the housing officers. I do know they've got problems trying to get them out once they're in, but they shouldn't be getting put in there. And I do know there's a lot of people do need help. but there's a hell of a lot of people out there are getting the help that don't deserve it. And that may be wrong in saying that, but that's the way I look at it. These people are causing mayhem on different estates. It's all drugs, alcohol, and yet again, the vetting people aren't doing their job, and the police are definitely not communicating with the housing authority. So at times, when these things happen, I think, no matter what estate it is, they should be going and asking the councillor where people are going to be put, because some councillors are finding out exactly what these people are like before anybody else does. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Lamont.
Thanks, Chair. Just really to come back on what Councillor Robertson said, there are circumstances where the council has its hands tied because it has to respond in statute to some cases. So can I suggest that the homeless manager sends that caveat in our policy to Councillor Robertson so he knows those type of circumstances where the council can't refuse an application?
Okay, thanks for that. Councillor Corley, respond?
Yeah. Thanks, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks very much, colleagues, for your comments and questions as well. And just to say that the severe weather emergency protocol kicks in after the first day. We're the only authority that does that. Other authorities wait 2 or 3 days. So I think we have to commend ourselves as well as a council for providing that service. But thank you.
I just want to apologise, Councillor Leek had a hand up. Leeks, sorry. You've just out my line of sight, so Eileen.
Listen to the comments that have been made about the housing and how people are awarded housing. It's been on my mind for a long time. It's time that we had a review of the tenancy again. It's been a lot of years since we did that. And I think it's time that we had one. And I think it's also time that we looked at how people are sat down and talked to about the tenancy they're about to receive and made sure that they understand the tenancy. I don't believe that they do. They say yes, 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 because they want the keys. But they must understand the responsibilities they're taking on, not just the fact, I've got a house, I've got a house. A house comes with responsibilities, not to mention neighbours.
Thank you, Councillor Lisk. Councillor Carter first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just to say that that review is ongoing and it's cross-party as well. So there is work ongoing about the allocations policy. So it will be coming to council very soon. Right.
You've already spoken, as Councillor Robertson, so we're going to move on. You've already spoken, Councillor. You've already spoken. We're going to move on, John. It's colleagues, Borough Council is recommended to approve this report, the Homelessness and Rough Sleeper Strategy, and to agree to receive regular updates and feedback about progress made against the strategy. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you, colleagues. Next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Public Health regarding stop smoking service, expansion and vapes 1 year on. I will ask Councillor Barkley, Lead Member for Adults, Health and Independence, to present this report. Councillor Barkley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report I am presenting to full council is a summary of the work undertaken for the last 12 months to expand the stop smoking and vape interventions across South Tyneside. South Tyneside has around 15,000 smokers, 12.7% of the population, with significant health and economic costs linked to smoking. From a national point of view, the Tobacco and Vapes Bill seeks to stop the illegal sale of cigarettes to future generations and reduce youth vaping. Raising the age of sale will protect the next generation. This is what this bill delivers, phasing out the sale of tobacco by making it illegal to sell tobacco products to children born on or after the 1st of January 2009. To prevent the next generation becoming addicted to tobacco. In addition to this, the bill will give the government powers to stop vapes and other consumer nicotine products, such as nicotine pouches, from being deliberately branded and advertised to appeal to children. While vaping is not risk-free, it is a proven and effective method to help smokers quit, and that should remain its primary role. By switching to vaping, smokers can reduce their exposure to harmful substances that can lead to cancer, lung disease and cardiovascular conditions, such as heart attacks and strokes. South Tyneside's Stop Smoking service has expanded and is now offering free 12-week nicotine replacement therapy and a vape option to all adult smokers living and or working in South Tyneside. In addition to our universal Stop Smoking service, which is provided by GPs and pharmacies, a small grant scheme has been rolled out and is empowering voluntary organisations to deliver or promote stop smoking support in their own settings. Public health officers are also taking the service into the community, offering support in workplaces, food banks and local events. The Swap to Stop scheme is working, with free vape starter kit helping residents switch from cigarettes to safer alternatives. The service is focusing on equity, ensuring support reaches those most affected by smoking, including people in deprived areas and those with mental health challenges. Council is recommended to note the report and to continue to support the work of the Stop Smoking service in protecting the health and well-being of our residents and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is that seconded? Thank you. Are there any questions, or does any member wish to speak on the report? No. Councillor Mond.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I was going to second this report, but I really just wanted to draw your attention to some of the statistics regarding our children in primary school. On page 180, we're talking about 4% of primary school children admitting to using a vape. You know, that's absolutely shocking, isn't it, at that age? That's age 4, 5 and 6. And then we look at secondary school data, where 33% of the young people ages 8 and 10 years said that they'd used a vape, and lots of them use them at least once a week, 10% of them. One of the most important stats in this paragraph for me is that of those 33% of children, 33% of parents vaped. There's the socialisation for you. It's parents that we need to address to get their children to stop using this and stop kind of doing as their parents do. So I think it's a great report, and it's really important we all get behind it.
That's it. Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? Councillor Robertson, sorry.
Excellent report. Thank you very much.
You forgot what you want to say, weren't you? Councillor Davies. So I said it right this time.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. It's me again. I'm perhaps becoming the new Councillor Robertson. Further to Councillor Lamont's comments there on the statistics, it really did strike me the age of vape exposure and the increasing normalisation of it. You know, the Labour government have put in some changes to desensitivise it. I think those perhaps haven't really gone far enough. You've got the same products that are disposable. Now they've just put in a USB port. I don't think that's really changing the behaviour very much. And so there are recommendations for the vaping industry that they would say to increase the disposability. And of course, vapes create an issue for our bin lorries. And there was I think a fire not too long ago in one of those due to an incorrectly disposed battery. So we need to do all that we can, both to decrease smoking, but also reduce the exposure of young children to vaping too.
Thank you, Councillor. Right, colleagues. Members are recommended to note and endorse our Stop Smoking service and vape implementation approach. The Council is also asked to continue to engage with the scrutiny of our progress, especially in relation to vaping and the rollout of the Tobacco and Vapes Bill. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you, colleagues. Next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Adult Social Care and Commissioning regarding South Tyneside Adult Social Care and Commissioning Strategy. I will again ask Councillor Bartley, Lead Member for Adults, Health and Independence, to present this report. Councillor Bartley, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The Adult Social Care Commissioning Strategy for 2025 to 2027. This is our roadmap for delivering sustainable, high-quality care and support in South Tyneside for adults. This strategy aligns with our overarching vision, Living Better Lives, and reflects our statutory responsibilities, financial realities, and the evolving needs of people who require care and support. We aim to keep people as independent as possible, preferably in their own homes. But if this is not achievable, then an alternative good quality provision. To provide some context, Adult Social Care in South Tyneside assesses eligible needs under the Care Act 2014. Many people requiring long-term provision are supported by a commissioned service from either the independent or voluntary sector. As of the 30th of June this year, 2,887 people were in receipt of long-term care and support from Adult Social Care. This includes support for older people, people with a learning disability, people experiencing mental ill health, or who are neurodiverse. A further 1,399 people were supported with short-term provision, such as short breaks or reablement, often after a period in hospital. The three largest areas for commissioned services were home care with 1,664 people, residential care with 815, and direct payments with 663 people. The commissioning strategy has a number of key areas of focus, namely people, ensuring residents have greater choice and control over their care, with a focus on independence, dignity and well-being. Place, investing in community-based models of care that reduce reliance on institutional settings and support people to live well at home. Partnerships, strengthening collaborations across health, housing, voluntary sector and local businesses to deliver integrated place-based care. This strategy delivers value for money, meets regulatory standards, reflects the voice of our communities, and most critically, delivers positive outcomes for people requiring care and support. The Council is committed to ensuring that the Adult Social Care Directorate focuses on co-production, engaging residents, carers and providers in shaping services that are responsive and inclusive, prevention and early intervention, market sustainability, working with providers to ensure a stable, skilled and fairly paid workforce. Importantly, our commissioning approach is fully aligned with Procurement Act 2023, which places transparency, value for money and public benefit at the heart of all procurement activity. The Act empowers local authorities with greater flexibility while reinforcing our duty to deliver social value and robust contract management. The strategy outlines 10 priority areas for strategic commissioning activity from now until 2027. Each of these priorities will be supported by individual Cabinet reports to seek approval for future procurement and to award contracts. These reports will clearly note that contract values fall within key decision thresholds, ensuring transparency, accountability and alignment with our governance framework. We are strengthening our focus on contract compliance, ensuring providers meet agreed standards and deliver on commitments, quality assurance, embedding continuous improvement and safeguarding through robust monitoring, KPIs and outcomes, capturing meaningful data to assess performance and impact, value for money, ensuring every pound spent delivers maximum benefit, personal outcomes, using the Think Local, Act Personal, WE statements adopted by the Care Quality Commission to measure success from the perspective of people who use services. For example, we have care and support that suits us, and we are in control of our lives. This strategy has been co-designed with a wide range of stakeholders, including local care providers, voluntary and community sector partners, health and housing colleagues, social care professionals and frontline staff. We are supported by the Social Care Institute for Excellence, who provided expert facilitation. FCIE's involvement helped us apply national best practice, assess our commissioning capabilities, and develop a robust change plan grounded in co-production and strength-based approaches. We are asking for your continued support in championing this vision and helping us navigate the challenges ahead with ambition and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Excuse me. Is that seconded? I'll second it. Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Are there any questions? Does any member wish to speak? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Lead Member Bartley, for your excellent report. It's not to take issue with yourself, no variance, but as a former nurse, I have great reservations and massive boundary issues with regards to the CQC. They are a riven organisation, and the quicker this Labour government shakes it by the scruff of the neck and gets something credible and informed, the better, because it is not a credible organisation.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Anton.
Before I speak, Mr. Mayor, I want to declare an interest because I've been part of the non-pecuniary interest. I've been part of the Living Better Lives and co-production since its inception.
Yes, thank you.
I was at a Living Better Lives co-production meeting as early as today, and what started out as a room full of people like this, there was 5 who were turned out today, such as the lack of interest in what is actually going on with adult social care. I'll just give you a couple of examples what we've been dealing with. A lady who is socially isolated because she can't get out of her house. She has been given a wheelchair, but she's got nobody to use a wheelchair to push her in the wheelchair. She can't get out of the house because of the steps. So myself and my colleague, we got an OT assessment done, and there was various questions asked and making her very uncomfortable, and some embarrassing questions, to the point where the gentleman said, I want to take you into the bathroom. She was in a nightwear because she needs help getting dressed. I want to take you into the bathroom and I want you to show us how you sit on the toilet. How embarrassing. And then to take her outside to show her how to manage the steps when she'd already fallen a few days beforehand. I really must...
I don't think we should be talking about individual cases.
I'm not naming anybody. I'm not naming anybody. I'm telling you what is going on. We're also saying we want the Living Better Lives was to enable people to have a wraparound service so that they could live happily and independently in their own homes. So what the OT said to her was...
No, well, we can't go on about individual cases, sorry.
What was said to her, the advice that she was given was, you've got a back door...
Point of information, Mr Mayor, this should not be spoke of in a public gallery. Sorry, this is somebody's life that you're speaking about.
That's exactly why I need I need to get it over.
We don't talk about individual cases. Will you please sit down? Thank you. Councillor Robertson, you had a question?
Thank you for the report. It's not a question, it's just an observation and a comment. So, at a meeting like this, like other people have meetings, I'm going to do a confession. And that confession is, I am a whistleblower. Right? I am a whistleblower. It is, it's part of the adult social care. You cannot choke it down, man.
Councillor Robertson, Councillor Robertson, will you please... Yes, we've got to move on. We've got a lot to get through. People are absolutely sweating.
Oh, man, Jay.
No, come on, John.
It's about
please sit down.
social care.
John, please sit down.
Wow.
No, it's not the way to behave, you know that. Councillor Roberts, is this appropriate?
Yes, it is very appropriate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
It's very, very appropriate when we're sitting here talking about adult social care and we're turning our backs on adult social care. We know, everybody knows what's going on in this place, adult social care are a complete and utter waste of time. When you've got a resident sitting, and my colleagues from the adult social care are walking in and saying, I'm not going to do an alteration for the sake of a couple of years when they're 80-odd-year-old.
Councillor,
you put
your point across. Right, colleagues, members, I recommend to endorse the content of the South Tyneside Adult Social Care Commission Strategy 25-27 and publication of the document on the Council's website. Is that agreed?
Come have a name vote. Come have a name vote. Name vote.
Never agreed.
We've got 5 hands for the name vote.
Name vote, please.
No, I haven't got 5 hands, sorry. The Council has also recommended...
There's 5 there now.
Here's your 5th one.
You got 5.
Find out who wants to look after adult social care.
So Councillor Robertson seconded the report. Councillor Brown, you now want a name vote against the report.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So I think there was 5 members with Councillor Brown therefore supporting that. I would stop dashing into second reports when you don't agree with them, because the whole point of seconding them is about moving them forward.
Right, let's press on, please.
So I'll read all your names in order, and this is about endorsing the content of the commissioning strategy and publication of the strategy on the Council's website. Councillor Barkley.
Agree.
Councillor Brennan.
Agreed.
Councillor Brown.
Agreed.
Councillor Carter.
Agree.
Councillor Clare.
Agreed.
Councillor Coombs.
Agreed.
Councillor Cunningham. Councillor Davies.
Agree.
Councillor Dawes. Councillor Paydean.
Agree.
Councillor Esteen.
Agreed.
Councillor Dixon. Councillor Ellison. Councillor Foggin. Councillor Ford.
Agreed.
Councillor Foreman.
Agreed.
Councillor Francis.
Agreed.
Councillor Gibson. Councillor Guy.
Agreed.
Councillor Ginn.
Agreed.
Councillor Hamilton.
Against.
Councillor Herbert.
Agreed.
Councillor Keegan. Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Kilgour. Councillor Lamont. Councillor Leask. Councillor K. Maxwell.
Agreed.
Councillor N. Maxwell. Councillor McCabe. I see not, yes, sorry. Councillor McHugh. Councillor Melling. Councillor Myers.
Agree.
Councillor Oliver.
Abstain.
Councillor Owens-Palmer.
Agreed.
Councillor Porthouse.
Agreed.
Councillor Proudlock. Councillor K. Roberts. Councillor T. Roberts.
Abstain.
Councillor Robertson. Councillor Smith.
Agreed.
Councillor Strike. Councillor J. Taylor.
Agreed.
Councillor R. Taylor.
Abstain.
Councillor Traynor. Councillor Welsh. Councillor Wood.
Agreed.
Councillor Yeh.
Agreed.
One for against, 3 abstentions.
So the strategy's agreed with 41 votes for, 3 against and 3 abstentions.
Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone. The strategy is agreed with 41 for, 3 against and 3 abstentions. So the Council has also recommended to approve the production of a market position statement to cover the period of 2025 to 27 to reflect the content of the commissioning strategy with the aim of encouraging providers to respond to commissioning intentions through the procurement process. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you, colleagues. I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible because I know we're all absolutely mad hot in here. It's really sweaty. The next item of business is to consider a report of the Director of Public Health regarding age-friendly communities Annual Progress Report 24 to 25. I will ask Councillor Barkley, Lead Member for Adults, Health and Independence, to present this report. Councillor Barkley, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report I am presenting to Council is the annual progress update for the age-friendly community strategy for 2024-25. Age-friendly communities is a World Health Organization framework consisting of 4 stages: engage, plan, act and evaluate. South Tyneside had approved from the Centre for Ageing Better to start their journey in 2022. Engagement with residents and partners included a multi-format survey, 4 validation events and a dedicated professional event, which formulated the strategy and action plan, approved by the Health and Wellbeing Board in January 2024. A second professional event in October 2024 shaped this first annual report being presented today. We have made good progress in some areas, including accessibility audits, a transport needs assessment, a housing, health and care community of practice, the age-friendly employer pledge, and work to reduce financial hardship. Further, work needed in other areas includes reliance on IT, curbs and pavements for those with mobility issues, fear of antisocial behaviour, and help to access care. Council are asked to note the report and acknowledge the work of the steering group. Council are asked to consider the recommendations within the report to provide feedback back on further areas to prioritise within the action plan, and to agree for South Tyneside to sign up to the Global World Health Organization network. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is that seconded? Yes. That's good. Are there any questions? Does any member wish to speak? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Councillor Barclay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We rightly celebrate the work that's happened on our age-friendly communities programme, and it's the kind of work that doesn't really make front page headlines, but it is changing lives, consistently, quietly and with care. However, I note the report's difficulty in getting implementation on our highways in terms of curbs and paving, so I would call on our highways team to really step up their work on that particularly. But with social participation funding, thoughtful work on dimensional inclusion, this is what a decent society begins to look like. But too many in South Tyneside, especially our older residents, life is too hard. Poverty, poor housing, isolation, long waits for care, and the deep unease that comes from knowing that odds are stacked against you. These aren't accidents, they are predictable consequences of political choices. And that's why I'd like to probably see us adapt a further best principles that we see across the country and work on the Marmot principles out of Coventry, Dagenham and Barking and Greater Manchester as well. The Marmot approach begins with a basic truth that health is shaped not just by the NHS, but by the homes that we live in, the air that we breathe, the income that we earn, and the dignity that we're shown as a community. And that is inequality. That inequality is not inevitable, it's manufactured, and we can unmake it. Marmot places are places that refuse to accept that there's a postcode lottery to health and life expectancy, something that we are declining here, particularly amongst men at the moment in South Tyneside. They put fairness at the centre of everything: planning, procurement, transport, education, and social care. And they measure what matters, and they act where the evidence demands it. And we are roughly working within those principles. Apologies. Because the truth is, unless we address the causes of the causes, the structural inequality beneath the surface will forever be firefighting with too little and too late. Our residents deserve more than tokenism. They deserve the full weight of our ambition, and they deserve a borough where our life chances aren't dictated by your bank balance, your postcode, or your age. So let's adapt as many Marmot principles as possible, and let's be a borough that puts people first, and it's a bold future where we can all be proud of growing old and something to be celebrated and not feared. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I was about to say, could you wind up? Cheers. Any further questions? Comments? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add to this aspiration, it's noble. we should in any case have seamless protocols since the welfare reforms after the war, from the cradle to the grave. We should never lose sight of that. And I welcome the recommendations, but these will not sit in isolation. I pray that there isn't a war to come. I pray that we are enabled through negotiation in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years to avoid any conflict in Europe, and especially with Russia. I say that in all fairness because, you know, greater minds than me will have to start and think more laterally with regards to this. And the report has an implication with regards to our local hospital facilities. I fought all the way to the High Court and fundraised money that then primed legal aid to go to the High Court to fight to maintain one paediatrician for South Tyneside. The gold standard for all parents that knowledge would give a 24-hour, really excellent service, and for what they saved, £250,000 a year, chicken feed compared to what is spent on the NHS. We should never have given that up. And I'll tell you, with the regional planners going, oh yes, let's have a spineless process from York General all the way up to Berwick, close to the A1 or the A69, it doesn't work. We will have a required need to embrace this report, yes, but to maintain and reprime our acute and integrated services at South Tyneside Hospital, because if we do get a conflict, Sunderland Royal will be too far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bartley.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you for your comments. I will be taking them on board and making sure that we actually incorporate that, because we obviously want to look for best practice and we want to be part of the changing the environment that we live in, and that ageing is not seen as a burden but something that you can embrace in the next phase of your life. I think there's some really interesting aspects that we need to come together on. I think it's for us as well as a community. We recognise we are an ageing community, but it's a big part of our community, and we have to be reflective of the needs that that community meets and needs in order that we can move forward to a better and more equitable distribution of assistance, but with healthier lives as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bartley. Okay, colleagues. Borough Council is recommended to acknowledge the progress that has been made and to continue to endorse the work programme and support South Tyneside Council sign up to the global network. Is that agreed? Agreed. Thank you, colleagues. Yes, sir. Is there on, Nicola?
Under motions.
Yeah, becoming under motions. Ms. Dave?
So he just lets the meeting happen, it'll probably be quite quick.
What I'd like to say is, it's just been mentioned, if we just carry on with the meeting as quickly as possible, that time will come. Go. As we previously agreed to deal with item 14 at the end of the meeting, so we'll move on to item 15 on the agenda.
Mr Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Could I just ask
that
when we come to the motions, we've already moved an agenda. These ladies have got buses to catch and they've travelled from far and wide to be here tonight. Could we possibly bring that motion forward just to let them get away that little bit quicker?
Nicola?
It's up to you, Mr Mayor, but there's literally just questions and a petition and then it's motions anyway.
It's going to be literally minutes if we can just get through it.
Up to you to propose it and for the meeting to agree.
Can we bring it forward, please?
We'll bring it forward.
Just be seconded.
Just bring it forward, yeah.
But it needs to be agreed by the meeting.
Right. Does anyone agree to bring that motion forward? Excellent. I've just where I am now, sorry. What people on?
So we'll be on to number 48.
48.
But it's actually, it's the second motion, I think. So
Is it?
will be number 53.
Just bear with us, we're just finding what you got on. Can I find it? What, Nicola, is it? What one is it?
Sorry, it's motion 2, Mr Mayor.
It's page 53.
Page 53, yeah.
Right.
So on on the agenda, the motion starts on the
Yeah, of course, yeah.
4th page of the agenda.
Thank you, colleagues. Motion 2. WASPI Women has been submitted by Councillors Kennedy, Owens Palmer, Thompson, Myers, Brennan, T. Roberts, Coombs, Harrison, Guy, Yeh and Oliver. Councillor Kennedy, please present your motion.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome the WASPI women here tonight. I know some of you have travelled a long way, and we did promise you this motion would be heard, unlike what's happened to you at the likes of Newcastle and Sunderland, where it was time restrained. May I'd like, just in case I don't get through this within the allocated time, this was written in conjunction with the WASPI women. It's been backwards and forwards between the WASPI women and ourselves, fully agreed with the WASPI women. Now, I know there's been an amendment to this. I'd just like to state and put on record that the WASPI women do not agree to this amendment after I'm finished. And I'd like you to take that into consideration. It's these ladies we're doing this for. And if we do amend it, it's taken away what they have actually asked us to do tonight. So the motion is to ask the Leader of the Council to write the Borough's Members of Parliament and to the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions outline the effects of the injustice to 1950s WASPI women, including those within our communities in South Tyneside, and to seek their support for a just compensation package. The Council notes that a motion in support of WASPI has already been agreed by Borough Council in January 23, and the Council included on the WASPI website as a local authority that has passed a motion to support WASPI women in South Tyneside. The 1995 Pensions Act increased the state pension age for women from 60 to 65, with the 2011 Pensions Act increasing it again to 66. The Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman found the Department for Work and Pensions was guilty of maladministration through its failure to properly inform women of the changes, which left them little time to make alternative retirement plans. Approximately 3.5 million women born in the 1950s were affected, including 11,000 in our local authority area and a total of 65,000 in the North East. The worst affected individuals received only 1 year's allowance of a 6-year increase to their state pension age, throwing the retirement plans of many into chaos and leaving them with little time to make alternative arrangements. In March 24, the PHSO instructed the UK government to apologise to those affected and to pay compensation on level 4 of their financial remedy scale, which amounted to between £1,000 and £2,950, which is a paltry amount. The PHSO noted the DWP did not accept the findings of this report and so laid the report before Parliament, instructing MPs to intervene and ensure a financial remedy is delivered. Promised it never was. In 2024, the Cross-Party Work and Pensions Select Committee wrote to the then Work and Pensions Secretary urging them to ensure a compensation scheme was urgently set up, a request which has been echoed by hundreds of MPs across all parties. And in December 24, the UK government apologised on behalf of previous administrations for the mistakes that were made, but took the almost unprecedented step of ignoring the PHSO through its refusal to pay financial redress to those affected. As of January 25, more than 300,000 women, both born in the 1950s, have died waiting for justice, while the WASPI Women campaign enters its 10th year. In January 25, the House of Commons voted to compensate these affected with a majority of 105 MPs, while a poll conducted by Yonder, sorry, I've just lost where I am, of 2,078 UK adults found that 74% of the public support a compensation scheme for affected women. The Council believes that the UK government's decision to equalise the state pension age for men and women was the right one, but the way it was carried out was wrong. Many women have been left in financial hardship as a result of failings by the DWP, which the current government has not yet recognised. The DWP's decision to ignore the PHSO's instruction to compensate affected women creates a concern for the checks and balances on the executive and the public's faith in independent watchdogs to hold ministers to account. Like elsewhere in the country, our local area is likely to have been negatively affected by the DWP's failure to inform women of changes to their state pension age and should be considered because, one, Women who would have looked after older relatives or partners are unable to afford to do so, with a knock-on impact on local social care. Women who would have cared for grandchildren are having to continue working, increasing the pressures on childcare locally. Women who have been left in poverty are struggling to meet their housing costs, with a knock-on impact on local housing provision. Local voluntary services are missing out on able, active volunteers who would otherwise have been able to retire from full-time work as planned. If the reduced spending power and disposable income amongst those impacted by the changes and the knock-on effect to the local economy. Sorry?
Time's up, Councillor.
I did ask you if you would, under the circumstances, allow us to read the full thing, because these ladies have waited a long time for this.
There's much left.
Not a lot.
Yeah, carry on, Dave.
The government was right to apologise to those affected by this injustice, but the DWP must urgently follow the PHSO's orders and set up a compensation scheme to those affected. In relation to the government response of the 17th of December 24, specifically that the vast majority of women were not aware of the changes, despite the government's reference to a 2006 survey of around 200 women, which asked about general awareness of state pension changes in the future, not about the impact on them as individuals. This cannot be reflective of 3.5 million people's experiences. As concluded by the PHSO, financial restraints are not an excuse for the non-payment of a financial remedy. Resourcing and staffing issues within the DWP should not be a barrier to compensation. We elect governments to take difficult decisions and deliver challenging projects. Writing to women earlier would have made a difference to awareness levels, evidenced by the government writing letters to those their WFA removed. Women did not know. This is the very reason why PHSO found the DWP guilty of maladministration and identified wrongdoing. This council resolves to ask the Leader of the Council to write to local members of Parliament, South Shields and Jarrow, and to the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, Liz Kendall, to outline the effects of the injustice to 1950s women in the communities of South Tyneside, and to seek proposals for a compensation scheme in line with the PHSO's report to be urgently brought forward by the DWP, requesting an urgent debate and vote in government time in the House of Commons on delivering compensation to affected women, and to ask the council leader to write to Sir Keir Starmer outlining the council's position and calling for swift, necessary action to resolve the situation and deliver all that the Prime Minister and many other Labour politicians promised to WASPI women campaigners and failed to deliver. Like I said before, this has been written in conjunction with the WASPI women. It is their words, it is what they wanted read out tonight. They are not happy with any amendment, and I think that any amendment
Councillor Kennedy, we're going to have to move on. Sorry.
Submitted at this point
Councillor
in
Kennedy,
time will be an insult to these women.
We're going to have to move on. Thank you for that. Is that motion seconded?
Seconded.
It's seconded, yeah? Yeah. Do you wish to speak? Yes, I do. Up to 3 minutes only.
Thank you. Thank you for the offer, Councillor Robertson, but I'm all right. Just to give an idea of the impact of the 2011 Pensions Act on women, a woman born on the 5th of May 1950 would have received almost £5,000 a year from her 60th birthday. A married couple would have received an additional £4,000 between them. A single woman born on the 5th of May 1952 lost 2 years of pension, over £11,000. A woman born on the 5th of May 1954 lost 5 years of state pension, almost £31,000. It's a life-changing sum of money, and it has changed lives. It's impossible to plan with just 5 years' notice that they're going to pull the rug out from under your feet and take away the money you are relying on for your retirement after a lifetime of work. The amount proposed in compensation is frankly desultory in comparison with what many women have lost, and a lot of women have died in poverty or struggling to manage working alongside caring for their elderly parents or their grandchildren, a role which has traditionally fallen upon these women and which is a benefit to both the older and the younger generations and society as a whole. This government has ignored the orders of the Ombudsman, and it's been sitting on its hands for far too long, and it's failing to act. It's letting these women down, and we need to do something, and we need to do something fast.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, everyone. The motion is now open to debate by members. And do any members wish to ask a question, speak on the motion, or move an amendment? Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. WASPI stands for Women Against State Pension Inequality. It was a national disgrace where women were stripped of their pensions, many of them on the cusp of retirement and forced to wait longer. Many of these women were not even informed or given adequate time to prepare. This is in itself a total disgrace, but the utter betrayal and disgrace sits with the party opposite, the Labour Party, a party whose leader, Keir Starmer, lied to the WASPI women and told them he would compensate their pensions and put things right if they voted for him and Labour. Vote for me, you can trust me. As we know, this certainly didn't happen, and soon after, as Keir Starmer got a whiff of power, he forgot about WASPI women and basically said it wasn't happening, just like they didn't exist. Well, South Tyneside Alliance Group remembers the betrayal. We remember what was promised and that what never happened. The lesson here to everyone is Labour cannot be trusted to keep their promises. They will tell you what you want to hear just to get them into power. Once in power, they will blame their shortcomings on the previous government or make up excuses. I am sure members opposite will pay this motion lip service, but in truth, WASPI women won't face justice until Labour is removed from power or the High Court forces them to act. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Colleagues, 2 seconds, John. I'm conscious of the time and that we still have important business to get through today. Unless the meeting agrees otherwise, where 3 hours have elapsed since the commencement of the meeting will automatically end in accordance with Rule 28.3 unless we agree otherwise. Therefore, colleagues, can I move that the meeting of the Council continues beyond 3 hours in duration this evening? Is that motion seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you, colleagues. Is it agreed?
Agreed.
No, I lost my page. Councillor Brennan, you wish to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Empty promises. That's right, empty promises. That is what the Women Against State Pensions Inequality received when they put their faith in the Labour Party. When in opposition, Keir Starmer and Labour promised them he would compensate the pensions when they got into power. Promised them they would get justice. It's now been over 12 months, and what do we find that's happened? A forced apology by the Ombudsman, but still empty promises and no justice. The WASPI women forced to take legal action. That's because those empty promises were in fact outright lies. Lies told by the Labour Party to court the electorate into believing they were going to get justice and compensation. It never came. Labour councillors sitting opposite should be outraged for the many constituents their party and government have let down. They should be backing this motion and demanding their government act. It should be their party and their party members holding their leaders and leadership to account for the absolute fibs that were told. Instead, it's up to the South Tyneside Alliance Group left to shame Labour into action. This is the second time we've sought justice for the WASPI women. Let's hope it's not going to be a third time, and the government listen. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Robson.
Thank you very much. And by the way, it's not just the South Tyneside Alliance Group that's backing the WASPI women, it's the real independents as well. Loud and clear. Yeah, and not reading off a bit of paper. We'll talk from the heart. Right? So down the lines of...
Did you sign the motion?
Did I sign the motion? I wasn't asked to sign the motion, Councillor. Thank you. So, what we've got here is the photo opportunities that we're seeing these councillors getting with these ladies when Conservatives were in government, right? It's the same old story. Use them for photo opportunities, give them all the promises, and then, when the tables turn, all the excuses under the sun. When you asked Mr Mayor if there was anyone wanted questions or comment, I don't think I've seen any hands up. If you don't speak on this, hang your heads in shame, every one of you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I am a WASPI woman, one of the WASPI women, and I worked right up until I did retire at 60. And I was a trade unionist, active trade unionist all my working life. And at no time was I taught about the change in the pension rules. Till about 3 months before I was due to retire, when I applied for my pension, it be told I wasn't going to get it. So what led along the line were under false pretences, and it wasn't widely broadcast. It was slipped in under the radar, so that there was a lot of women who retired at that time thinking they were going to get their pension, and they didn't get it. And I was one of them. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Any questions, Councillor Carter?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yes, I'd like to move the amendment to the motion, to the original motion. I am a WASPI woman.
We'll have no shouting across the chambers, please, people.
I am a WASPI woman. I am directly...
Councillor Kennedy. Don't interrupt people. It's not nice. It's not professional. Councillor Carter, you want to carry on?
If I may. I am a WASPI woman, and I am directly affected. Like Councillor has just mentioned, I am directly affected by these issues. I was a trade union officer for 30 years, and I worked with WASPI women very regularly around the campaign. And so don't tell me that I don't support WASPI women, because I am one of them, and it affects me. Pardon? I'm not watering it
Councillor
down.
Robertson. No, it's about the 4th time. The next time I'm going to ask you to leave.
Thank you. I want to thank the opposition actually for bringing this motion, and thanking the WASPI women for coming along tonight. I'm sorry you've had to wait so long for this to be heard, but we've got there.
Right, that's it. Councillor Robertson will leave. I move that Councillor Robertson leaves the chamber. Can I be seconded, please? Councillor Robertson. Councillor Robertson, the meeting's not going to carry on till you go.
Mayor, that's not the process. It's the member can no longer be heard initially before you just boot him straight out the room.
Really? Have you read the rules?
Yes.
Councillor Robertson, please leave. He's been 1, 4 and 5 times. I chaired this meeting. Councillor Guy, I chaired this meeting. Councillor Robertson, please leave. The meeting's not carry on until you've gone. The longer you take, the longer these people are sitting in the sweltering heat. So, Councillor Robertson, it's really appreciated.
Mr Mayor, can I speak, please?
Yes, Councillor.
I would just like to say that I think you've picked the worst time in this meeting to do this, in view of the respect that we're going to be voting on this motion for these ladies.
I know, but you've seen the time. Everyone's been sitting here since 6 o'clock.
But it is the wrong time to ask them to leave and lose a vote that could potentially support them.
Councillor Kenny, I'll chair this meeting. Can we agree on that? I'll chair this meeting. Right. Now let's carry on, please, without any disruption. Councillor Carter.
Thank you. I'll make it quick. You'll see from the amendments proposed in the motion do not change the spirit of the motion. The general direction and purpose of it aligns with the previous motion, which we've already passed in January last year, well, 2023. As such, I'm confident that the majority of this chamber, if not the entire chamber, are supportive of appropriate and just compensation for WASPI women, which we're all on the same page. The amendment to the motion seeks to clarify a few points. For example, as set out in the Secretary of State for Work and Pension statement in December 2024, the majority of women did not know about the changes to the state pension age. However, it remains true that the Department of Work and Pensions, like my colleague has mentioned, were found guilty of maladministration, and that this significantly impacted women's lives who were not aware of the changes, me included. Additionally, we've added a few points of additional context. For example, that the changes to the state pension age is rooted in the DWP's delay in sending letters. This point is reflected in both the original motion and the amendment, but with more detail added in the amendment. Nevertheless, I believe it is right that this motion outlines the impacts of changes to the state pension age and that we write to relevant MPs, including the Secretary of State and the Prime Minister, to outline the impacts of injustice and the impacts that this has had on WASPI women, not just in South Tyneside, but across the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Is the amendment seconded? Is it agreed? Oh, yes, sorry. Any members wish to speak, ask a question on the amendment? Councillor Kennedy.
I just think under the circumstances, you know, we've already said these ladies have travelled far and wide. They've already made it known to us that they don't agree with the amendment. They're all sitting there now. Maybe you'd be so courteous as to look them in the eye and ask them if this is what they really want. They have said themselves they do not want an amendment, yet you have still brought it forward. Even though I said you would be disrespecting them, ask them. It came from them earlier tonight. They do not want an amendment. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My wife is impacted by this as well as a WASPI woman. I think it's very sad that the politics of division of the Tories cast such a long shadow, but nobody can escape this. And the government has changed, and I'm in favour of the amendment put by Councillor Kennedy on behalf of the WASPI women. It doesn't appear to be any winners, but we must try and do what we can to ameliorate the situation. We've already talked about modern slavery. All of my nursing colleagues are modern slaves. I was a modern slave as a man. 23 years without a rise under the Tories in 2 tranches. And a lot of WASPI women are nurses as well, but without exception. You know, the women are disadvantaged. John Lennon put it strongly, but I cannot repeat his words that he used. It is a fact that here we are at each other's throats, but I will say it's the malevolence of a Tory government. I wish you well.
Thank you, Councillor Hoover. Councillor Bartley. And Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Council, I, as a WASPI woman, am pleased to be seconding the amendment in support of WASPI women, as it is only right that we continue our efforts to support women who have faced injustice as a consequence of DWP maladministration. As noted in the amendment, we are glad to see that the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions has apologised for maladministration and committed to ensuring the department learns from these mistakes. As noted by the Ombudsman, there are difficulties in establishing a tailored scheme for the women affected by the lack of communication by the Department of Work and Pensions. Along with this, the government is in difficult financial position, having inherited economic chaos from 14 years of Conservative rule. However, that does not mean that compensation should not be made in the interest of fairness. This means that the decisions do not compensate women should be revisited, and it is right that the Council writes to the relevant figures to outline the impacts of this issue on South Tyneside. The motion to support WASPI women in January 2023 was unanimously agreed, and quite rightly. Should we agree this amendment, it will be a great example of what South Tyneside Council can achieve when we come together, collaborate to work out the details and support the people of South Tyneside. I am therefore in favour of this amendment and continuing our support for WASPI women. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Who got next? Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, to follow on from Councillor Kennedy, he's been told that they didn't want this amendment through, but you have pushed it through. You're trying to take credit away from what other people have done. You have had a chance before to do things about it. Your government has done nothing about it, but lied. How can they trust you with this amendment? I find it very, very hard to even think about trusting you. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, Councillor. Councillor.
I just want to make the observation that as part of this amendment, it seems that blaming this on the previous government and removing the part which glosses over Sir Keir Starmer's U-turn on yet another way of supporting some of the poorest in our society does not feel like it's supporting the WASPI women to me.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Francis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll try and keep this brief. Essentially, this is another example of where this government is either the same or worse than the previous one. There is no appreciable change in policy here. Labour suggested in opposition that they would agree to compensation, and once in government, it's a completely different story. And this sits in a wider context where women have traditionally faced many negative consequences of a strongly patriarchal workplace. Their pensions were worth less, there was an appreciable gender pay gap, and they had opportunities closed off. We've heard about the financial challenges facing this country, but I just did a quick search online. There are 156 billionaires in this country right now. So there is money there. The government needs to take action to redistribute some of that wealth to people who actually need it and are in hardship, rather than allowing the super rich to keep getting richer and richer year on year. Just talk about what's actually in the amendment, or rather what's being taken out by the amendment. Just a couple of things to point out. One of the things that the amendment seeks to remove is this line. Many women have been left in financial hardship as a result of failings by the DWP, which the current government has not recognised. Taking that line out does not make it any less true. Okay? In the resolutions, it says to ask the Leader of the Council to write to Sir Keir Starmer outlining the Council's position and calling for swift necessary action to resolve this situation, and then the amendment seeks to remove and deliver all that the Prime Minister and many other Labour politicians promised to WASPI campaigners. Taking that line out is failing to hold the government to account on its own promises. Failing to support this unamended motion is failing women in our communities and beyond. I would urge all colleagues to support the motion unamended tonight.
Okay, folks, it is now 9 o'clock. The standing order is now in place. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just letting them know. Oh, I'll take notice of you.
No, it's just because the standing order says what.
No. Right. Is the amendment agreed? No. Okay. Take a vote? Yeah. Want to take a name vote? Yeah, we're going. You want a name vote? Have we got Councillor Kennedy? Councillor Kennedy? I've got 5 hands for a name vote. Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay. So, elected members, this is a vote on whether or not you agree the amendment. So it's just the amendment, and I'll be asking whether you're for, against, or abstaining when I say your name. Councillor Barclay?
For.
Councillor Brennan?
Against.
Councillor Brown?
Against.
Councillor Carter?
For.
Councillor Clare?
For.
Councillor Coombs?
Against.
Councillor Cunningham? Councillor Davies?
Against.
Councillor Dawes? For. Councillor Paydeen?
For.
Councillor Esteen?
For.
Councillor Dixon? For. Councillor Ellison? For. Councillor Foggin?
Against.
Councillor Ford?
Against.
Councillor Foreman? For. Councillor Francis?
Against.
Councillor Gibson? For. Councillor Guy?
Against.
Councillor Ginn?
Against.
Councillor Hamilton?
Against.
Councillor Herbert?
Against.
Councillor Keegan? Councillor Kennedy?
Against.
Councillor Kilgour? Councillor Lamont? Councillor Leask? Sorry, I know I just can't hear when everybody makes noises. Sorry, Councillor Leask? Oh, sorry. That's why I couldn't hear, sorry. Right, Councillor K. Maxwell?
For.
Councillor N. Maxwell? For. Councillor McCabe?
He's gone.
He's gone as well. Okay. Councillor McHugh? For. Councillor Milling? For. Councillor Myers? Against. Councillor Oliver?
Against.
Councillor Owens-Palmer?
Against.
Councillor Porthouse. Councillor Proudlock. Councillor K. Roberts.
Against.
Councillor T. Roberts.
Against.
Councillor Robertson's gone. Councillor Smith.
Against.
Councillor Strike. Councillor J. Taylor.
For.
Councillor R. Taylor.
Against.
Councillor Traynor. Councillor Welsh. Councillor Wood.
Against.
Councillor Yeh.
Against.
Now, councillors, please.
So the amendment is agreed with 24 votes for and 21 votes against.
You just heard, Nicola. This amendment's agreed. It's 24 for and 21 against.
So the
Here we go.
amendment is carried.
The amendment is now carried.
Mr Mayor, can I make a very brief point of order? It's Rule 34.4.
Yeah, you was going to ask you, wasn't it?
Can I stand up if that's okay? Do you want to
Is it
stand
going to be
up?
brief?
Yeah, very brief. It's just to make it clear, Rule 34.4, it is a requirement in the Constitution that a motion to no longer be heard is passed before a member is ejected from the chamber. That is very clear in 34.4. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you for that.
There's also provision
But
in the
when it's constant disruption,
with the council procedure rules as he considers fit.
In all due fairness, he accused me of not reading the Constitution.
when there's constant disruption by a member in chambers, I have every right to ask him to leave.
I do just think it's fair to make the point that there is also a provision for the mayor to interpret the rules as he considers necessary.
It's not open for discussion. It's not open for discussion. It's not open for discussion. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'll take it on board.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Right, Nicola, we're welcome.
So we're at the
Mr
point
Mayor,
now.
could I just have one comment, please?
You certainly can, Councillor, as long as it's quick.
Thank you.
Everybody's sweating here.
Can I just make it clear where we are, though, before people make comments? Because I think we're in danger of just losing track of things. I'm not talking about the Constitution. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're therefore now looking at a motion as amended, which takes the place of the original motion. And I think it's just fair that I can qualify that in the end of a named vote that's requested from elected members. I know you've got a point to make, but... OK, Councillor Guy.
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to thank the ladies for coming along tonight and apologise on behalf of our Labour colleagues that they couldn't support you in the
Councillor Kennedy, that's enough.
amendment
Councillor Kennedy.
that you wanted.
Councillor Kennedy.
Just agreed an amendment, so the discussion isn't over. I don't know if the WASPI women want to stay for the rest of it. But
Right. So I can ask him anyone else who wants to speak.
you can now ask if any of them.
Yeah. Do any other members... Do any other members wish to ask a question, speak, or move on the motion? Thank you for coming. Much appreciated.
So I think Councillor Kennedy's probably is the original proposer.
Yeah.
Used that opportunity there to do that, but he has the opportunity to close the debate.
Right. Councillor Kennedy? No problem, mate. What? That? No problem, no problem.
So we're now, whether the motion as amended is agreed. So
Right.
it's just that yellow.
So, colleagues, sorry, I'm losing my voice again. As the motion was amended by Councillor Carter, which is now a substantive motion, is it agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Let's move on.
So now
We're going back there.
we need to go back to
Now we've got to go back there.
which is
Now we've just got to backtrack because we jumped forward.
45 if you want.
45, yeah. As you know, we jumped forward to get the motions out of the way, so now we're going back. Right. The next item of business is to receive questions on Procedure Rule 8. We have received no questions for Council on Procedure Rule 8 for our meeting today. The next item of business is to deal with petitions received under Council Procedure Rule 9. We have received one petition under this rule. As per the Council Procedure Rules, we will not debate a petition today. Councillor Coombs will present a petition in accordance with the process set out in the Constitution. and the petition will then be referred to the appropriate body. Councillor Coombs, please present a petition.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleagues, the petition has been submitted by Mr Gerard New and is calling upon South Tyneside Council to recognise Temple Memorial Park as a war memorial. The signatories, like myself, all believe that the land now known as Temple Memorial Park was gifted to the Corporation of South Shields, now South Tyneside Council, as a lasting tribute to the people of South Shields for their service to the country during wartime. The petition has 173 signatures in total, with 72 of those signatures living within the borough. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Coombs. In accordance with the Council Procedure Rules, the petition stands referred to the Director of Place Strategy as the appropriate body for further consideration. There were no petitions presented to the meeting of the Borough Council held on 20th of March 2025 for update. Well, I think we've done this one, haven't we?
So there's motion 1 to do first, which is
Yeah, we're going.
work as right motion. So that's on number 14.
We've got 49, yeah. Right. Motion 1. Workers' rights has been sub by Councillors Clare, Smith, K. Maxwell, Barkley, Carter, Gibson, Traynor, Kilgour, Dawes, N. Maxwell, McCabe and Porthouse. Councillor Clare, please present your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, the Labour government have described it as a once-in-a-generation change. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner emphasised that this bill represents a more significant upgrade to workers' rights in a generation aiming to boost pay and productivity with modern employment laws. The proposed legislation will be introduced after extensive consultation, working in collaboration with all stakeholders, employers, trade unions and supporting agencies, driven by the Labour government, working in partnership. Colleagues, throughout the consultation, 190 pieces of engagement with business and other crucial stakeholders have taken place over the last 12 months. And an agreed roadmap or phased approach was taken to give workers clarity and employers time to prepare. Key measures in the bill will come into effect in 2026 and 2027, whereas further consultations are planned from this year until next. Sadly, despite the extensive consultation, the bill was voted against by the Tories, propped up by Reform in the House of Commons. But does this really surprise anyone when you consider both parties are a darker shade of blue? Colleagues, never forget what the Tories did to employment legislation when they were in power. They gleefully produced a regressive package of reforms camouflaged under the guise of attacking trade unionists, but we now know it really was an attack on workers' rights. The bill has also suffered several amendments in the Lords, proposed by both the Tories and Lib Dems, and more disturbing, some of those voting against the bill were in fact hereditary peers. But that's a debate for another day. Make no mistake, regardless of the obstacles put forward by the opposition, this bill will eventually pass when it returns back to the House of Commons. Once the bill has passed, immediate repeal of the Strikes Act 2023 and the majority of the Trade Union Act 2016 to create a better relationship with unions that will prevent the need for strikes. Protection against dismissal for taking industrial action to ensure workers can defend their rights without fear of losing their jobs. Collective redundancy protective award, doubling the maximum period of a protective award to provide stronger financial security for workers facing mass redundancy. Day one, paternity leave and unpaid parental leave, whistleblowing protections, fair work agency established, statutory sick pay, removing the lower earnings limit, ending unscrupulous fire and rehire practices, regulations to establish the Fair Pay Agreement adult social care negotiating body in England, to raise standards and pay in the social care sector, tightening tipping laws, requiring employers to take all reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment of their employees, and introducing an obligation on employers not to permit the harassment of their employees by third parties. A package of trade union measures, including new rights and protections for trade union representatives, gender, pay gap and menopause action plans, enhanced dismissal protection for pregnant women and new mothers, creating a modern framework for industrial relations to build a fairer, more collaborative approach to workplace relations, bereavement leave, ending the exploitative use of 0 hours contracts to provide workers with stable hours and predictable income. From day one, the right to protection from unfair dismissal, improving access to flexible working. Colleagues, to ensure employers and workers are in the best possible position when these measures come into effect, the government will provide clear and comprehensive guidance to help organisations navigate the changes. The guidance will be made available in advance of implementation deadlines to allow time for familiarisation and preparation. In fact, Peter Cheese, Chief Executive CIPD, the professional body for HR and People Development, has commented, "We asked for a clear plan from the government, so we're pleased to see this roadmap launched, which will give employers some more clarity to prepare for the biggest set of workplace reforms in decades. We're pleased to see that the measures are being phased in gradually over many months. This will give more time for further consultation on key points of detail and organisations more time to update their policies and procedures." TUC General Secretary Paul Novak said, "After the failed era of insecure work and squeezed living standards, the Employment Rights Bill is badly needed. Banning exploitative 0 hours contracts, giving workers a strong voice, and ending fire and rehire are all common sense, popular reforms. It's welcome that workers will start to benefit from these long overdue changes from later this year, but this timetable must be a backstop. We need to see that these rights are in action as soon as possible. Decent employers don't need to wait for the law to change. They should be working with staff and unions right now to introduce these changes as quickly as possible." Colleagues, as many of you will know, South Tyneside is the largest employer in the borough. We pride ourselves on recognising the importance
Councillor Clerk, could you wind up, please?
and on striving to create the best possible working environment for employees. This council is a good employer, offering a comprehensive range of employment benefits and a competitive remuneration package. So, Councillor, I'm proposing this motion to voice our support for the government's plans to create better working conditions for all, including people in South Tyneside.
Thank you, Councillor. Is this motion seconded?
I'll second.
Do you wish to speak now?
Yeah, I'll be quite quick. Obviously, Councillor Clare's mentioned a few of the points that I was going to make, so but you know, they can easily be made again. In 2024, there were over 1 million people on 0 hours contracts in the UK. That means no holiday pay, no sick pay, no membership of a pension. And while that is a slight drop compared to the previous year, that is still far too many people on exploitative contracts with minimal workers' rights. I'm also glad to see the strengthening of protections against sexual harassment in the workplace and measures to improve gender equality. As a long-standing Labour Party member and member of a trade union, and someone who has worked in the healthcare arena for over 40 years, I know, I can't believe it, I firmly believe that you get the best out of people when they are appreciated and have good conditions of service and workers' rights. This leads to better performance and productivity, so it's a win-win situation. It's only right that workers get a fair pay for a fair day's work. We can see in the government's approach they are committed to strengthening workers' rights and families' rights, improving access to statutory sick pay, paternity and parental leave, bereavement leave and much more. Especially important is the reinstatement of the school support staff negotiating body and fair pay awards in the social care sector. I'm sure we all agree that education staff and social workers are the bedrock of society and we would be lost without them, and they are a huge part of what keeps South Tyneside running. That's why it is only fair that they have improved pay and conditions while they carry out this vital service. Therefore, it is only right that we write to the Deputy Prime Minister to emphasise how welcome these measures are and how they will benefit the people of South Tyneside. I would hope this motion is one that actually can unite the Chamber and we all agree.
Thank you, Councillor. The motion is open to debate by members. So do any members wish to ask a question, speak on a motion or move an amendment? That's good. Everyone's thinking the same thing, please no.
Councillor Roberts.
Councillor Roberts, sorry, I didn't see you there, mate. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, a couple of little points. First point is, we're talking about fair pay and workers' rights. 100% I'll support this motion. 100%. It's a great motion. My first little comment is, how can we trust the Labour to do this? We've just seen what they did to the WASPI women. If it goes through, brilliant, fantastic. But as the councillor said, fair pay for a fair day's work. Well, we're going to start with this with some of the members that have actually signed this. It wasn't so long, it was a good few years ago now, but there's two councillors sitting in here. One of them come to my house when I got unfairly dismissed, stood by us 100%. We'll go, yes, we'll do this, we'll do that. Went away and seen the MP, had their own discussion, and because I'd mentioned Unite the Union to go for them as well, we can't do anything about it. There was my rights took away straight away, and that was Councillor Paul Dean's. Sitting in my house, absolutely garbage. And the next one is fair pay for a fair day's work. Well, where do you start? We've just been talking about slavery. We've got a councillor sitting in here who was, a while ago, had very, very strong connections to an agency set up in South Tyneside shipyards.
Councillor
where
Roberts,
he took money
Councillor
of
Roberts,
foreign
please.
workers,
Councillor Roberts,
then
this is irrelevant.
Containers on the
Councillor
side of the
Roberts.
dock to charge them for that.
Councillor Roberts.
Slave trade.
This is
and you know what I'm
irrelevant.
talking about, don't you? It was. You had strong connections with it.
Councillor Roberts, as I said at the beginning of the meeting, that's your first final warning. This is your second.
He's just pointing at me. That was certainly not me.
I didn't point
I
at
had
you.
no
Councillor Roberts.
connection. I had no connection with
Councillor
that
Roberts.
whatsoever.
That'll do it.
And I condemn him for that. You should know better.
I know better. I know.
I move that Councillor Roberts is not heard on this item. Is that seconded?
Yes, I'll agree with that myself.
What?
Said what I
Thank
want to
you.
say.
Right, any other questions? Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The hour's late. I realise we're
late.
impassioned on many things. I bought this book in 1968, T.G. Allen's. It's the history of the TUC. I won another copy of it 3 years later, and I was presented at the Tech by Jimmy Florence, a long-standing Labour councillor, because I wrote an essay and I demolished the Tories' industrial relations strategy, 1971. I kept it till 1985. 12 senior trade unionists around this country signed it. But when Norman Willis wouldn't back the miners, I sent it back because he was a Tredegar and he wouldn't mobilise to support the miners at that stage, and I've never taken it back. And hell will freeze before I'll ever take it back. But I'll just read this, Mr Mayor. You've been very generous with me tonight with your time. we would like to have, 8 hours, well, if you like, we require 8 hours for work, 8 hours for our own instruction, and 8 hours for our repose. Whatever your politics, your inherent board is wired to be compassionate, to be kind, to be fair, to be altruistic, and to give, but to receive. And we all have it within us in our power to try and have a better town, a better society, and a sense of fairness. And I do support the motion. There are things within it I could still tweak. But it isn't a bad premise to ascribe to this one tonight as a start. Angela Rayner, Unite are on her trail. She's missing in action. But the premise tonight, I will support. Otherwise, I cannot stand by what I've just said in that book. Thank you, Mr Mayor, for your time.
Thank you. Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Further to Councillor Roberts' point on Labour campaigning in poetry and governing in prose, there was significant talk on the expansion of parental leave, something that fathers really do not take as much advantage of as they do, partly because it's set at such a low level, but also, you know, they just carry on going to work. And, you know, Fatherhood Institute was campaigning for 6 weeks of well-paid leave from the start of someone's new employment. That condition has been watered down. You will not be able to get the full statement amount from day one. You've got to be in your employment for at least 15 weeks before the baby is due, so potentially 6 months or so of your new employer. And on a second point on the removal of zero-hour contracts, this will just push employers into self-employment of employees. People are on zero-hours contracts because of the flexibility it provides them. They need that for their caring responsibilities, be that for the young children or for their elderly parents. And that flexibility of being able to say yes or no is vital to them. Now, zero-hours contracts are completely exploitative in lots of contexts, but the freedom to be able to choose a zero-hours contract is helpful to society because you have both the benefits of being employed, but also the flexibility of when you will actually be turning up to work. So just two issues there that really, I think, did deserve, I think, a little further intention that the Lords has teased out. But, this Labour government will push through on these reforms, and I welcome what Councillor Francis will say next on this.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Francis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I suppose the fundamental question is, do we support workers' rights? And of course the answer is absolutely and unequivocally. And I agree with many of the comments that have been made across the chamber from various members of different political backgrounds. I'm keen to support this on the surface of things, but my concern is there's nothing really of substance in the motion itself. What's being asked for is that we write a letter to the Minister saying that the Minister's policy is good. I'm not clear on what change or action that leads to in South Tyneside, and there's actually very little detail in the motion on why the Employment Rights Bill is good. And more worryingly, there's no detail on how the bill particularly benefits South Tyneside. There's no data, no case studies, no anecdotes about that. And importantly, the Council's own policy and governance team gave a detailed overview of the Employment Rights Bill and the possible impacts on South Tyneside, which is not referenced anywhere in the motion. And whilst that briefing note outlines some of the potential benefits, it also highlighted areas of concern. And so the Council's own report points out, and I quote, that the General Secretary of Unite, Sharon Graham, has criticised the legislation on the grounds that failing to end fire and rehire and zero-hours contracts once and for all will leave more holes than Swiss cheese that hostile employers will use. And of course, that's the same Sharon Graham that recently suspended Angela Rayner from the union for not defending workers. And in fact, that union has voted to examine its relationship with Labour as a consequence. The report, our own council's report, goes on to say that the government's economic assessment acknowledged the costs will be proportionately higher for small and micro businesses. And that's relevant because the vast majority, nearly 98% of businesses in South Tyneside are small or micro businesses. And by extension, that will affect their willingness to employ staff. And the government's impact assessment notes the possibility that employers may respond by taking on fewer young workers or, and I use this term just because it's in the report, riskier hires, such as those with long-term health conditions. So whilst I absolutely and unequivocally support workers' rights, and I support many of the things that have been talked about, I've got enough concerns about the bill as it currently stands and its impact in South Tyneside for serious reservations about unreservedly voting in favour of the motion tonight.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question. Are we practising what we preach as a local authority? Do we subcontract our work out to employers who hire agency staff on zero-hours contracts? And could we actually function as a council with the same, giving the same services to people without hiring agency staff? I wonder if anyone could answer that question for us, but it would be great. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Any further comments? Councillor Clare, as the original proposer, do you wish to reply to the debate?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just in reply to some of the questions that's been raised and some of the observations. Obviously, if I can go in the order that they actually were presented to us. Obviously, Councillor Roberts first. I can guarantee that the legislation will be accepted by Labour because it's Labour that's producing the legislation in the first place. So I don't think there'll be any doubt in relation to whether or not it's accepted or not. There will be opposition, you can guarantee that, at the final stage. But nevertheless, based upon what's been said, it will be accepted and it will come into legislation. Yeah, but I'm pointing out the fact that obviously, can I trust the Labour Party on this? Yes, I can, because it's their legislation. Well, the WASPI women, if I can just touch upon that, because I think, and I don't want to go back to that debate, but you've raised the point, I think there was value in that amendment to the motion.
Councillor Clare, this...
Sorry, I'm just replying to him.
Going off on a tangent here.
On Councillor Brown, obviously, you know, this is the most radical piece of legislation for the last decade. And of course, whilst we can't get everything, and I've been a trade unionist all my life since the age of 16, obviously this is a massive investment in the workers, and it's been in consultation with the employers and various federations as well. So, you know, it's not something that's just been plucked out the air. Like I said before, there's been a number of model periods of consultation with all agencies, including the employers, the trade unions, and everyone else involved in the employment scene. So it's nothing that, you know, something that's just been flagged up by Labour. And I think there was a couple of questions mentioned in relation to Angela Rayner. Obviously, Councillor Francis mentioned it along with yourself. And I personally believe that, and I've been a member of Unite since the age of 16, and I've got a great deal of time for Sharon Graham. In fact, I've exchanged emails with her on occasions and applauded the way she's actually led the trade union. But nevertheless, on this one, I think she's wrong. I think she's wrong. But that's only a personal opinion, and I'm entitled to it. On Councillor Davies, in reference to parental leave, obviously some of the legislation, as it's progressed, has been watered down originally by some of the opposition. But I'm convinced that this is a firm stepping stone to better things later on. You know, we'll have to start somewhere, and it all comes at a cost, and we'll have to ensure that, you know, whatever we do, it's done in cooperation with the employers as well, because I know Councillor Francis has some reservations about the smaller employers within the borough. And I think just on that one, Councillor Francis, I think, and I think you also mentioned 0-hour contracts. They are very exploitative. Employers do take advantage. And a lot of the times, you know, it's not by choice. It's not because you want that flexibility. Sometimes because you've got no option. And I think they need to be safeguarded. On Councillor Francis, obviously, I think by writing to support the legislation, I think it really brings benefits to everyone. I think it brings benefits to everyone, you know, within South Tyneside, because I think, you know, when it is in legislation, when it is in on the tablets of stone, then it has to be enacted upon. I know you have reservations about the possibility of, you know, some of the smaller companies, some of the smaller firms not being able to accommodate the legislation. But I think, you know, and you know, whether or not this is going to have an impact on recruitment. I think the same people were saying that about the national minimum wage when Labour introduced that, and it didn't make any difference. In fact, you know, it was a sound...
Councillor Kirk, could you move on, please?
Pardon?
Could you move on, please? You just seem to be going on a bit.
The questions.
You have put your points across. You haven't answered the questions, but you seem to be over-exaggerating, if you know what I mean.
No, I'm giving
we do need to move on.
I'm giving Councillor
People are sitting here
Francis...
watching themselves a bit of paper.
I'm giving Councillor Francis
you have
a detailed reply.
Well,
you know, if I'm going on a bit, then just tell us. But anyway, I think Councillor Brennan raised a point as well in relation to agency staff. And of course, I think the council has a moral responsibility as well, and I know they take that very seriously as well. You know, when they do employ other agencies, and they will be going through a process of identifying whether or not that particular company that they're dealing with, they do when it comes to agreed credentials. So I think, you know, the council will take into consideration who they're employing.
Thank you, Councillor. Very in-depth reply. Is the motion agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Motion 3. Social housing has been submitted by Councillors Carter, Porthouse, McHugh, Barkley and Keegan. Councillor Carter, please present your motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm sure we're all glad to see commitments made in the June spending review to social and affordable housing. Up and down the country, including in South Tyneside, social and affordable housing is desperately needed. To be a bit more specific, social housing is in crisis, with over 1.33 million households on a waiting list nationally. In South Tyneside, there are over 4,000 households on a waiting list for social housing, showing how adversely affected communities like ours are by this crisis. We should also remember that waiting list figures show a lower number than the actual number of households that would be more suitable for social housing. The government's commitment of £39 billion for social and affordable housing is welcome and needed. It demonstrates how seriously this Labour government takes tackling the big issues and crises that are facing the UK that continue to impact our communities. As noted in the motion, Shelter estimates that 90,000 homes per year are needed to address the backlog for social housing. Research by Shelter also shows that social house building is at a historically low level, leading to people depending on the private sector, probably private rented sector, when it is not the most suitable for them, and worsening overcrowding in both social and privately rented housing. It is therefore so important that we emphasise our support for social housing to the government so that they understand how necessary and supported building more social housing is in places like South Tyneside. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded? Seconded. Thank you. Is it agreed? Agreed. I've lost my page, sorry.
Well, it can be.
Yeah. It's open for debate. Does any members wish to speak, ask a question at all? Yes, lovely.
Just very briefly, thank you for the report. Just got two comments to make. One, that I will really look forward to the day when the language of social and affordable housing is two different things. So there's a set amount for social housing and a set amount for affordable housing, because as we know, affordable is not affordable to a lot of people, particularly young people. And the other thing is that I really look forward to the day where the right to buy is removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions, comments? No? Councillor Carter, as originally proposed, I do still apply to the debate? No debate? That's brilliant, thank you. Is the motion agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Motion 4. Bringing Council in line with COP15, the Convention on Biological Diversity, has been submitted by Councillors Jin, R. Taylor, Francis, Stonehouse, McEwen, Ford, Herbert, Curtis and Davis. Councillor Glynn, Jane, please present your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some of you in the chamber remember what it was like to take a walk in the country, surrounded by the sights and sounds of numerous birds, mammals, reptiles and insects. Sadly, today, the experience is very different, and the silence is often almost deafening. Over the past 50 years, our wildlife has diminished at an extraordinary rate. Many species have become or are at risk of becoming extinct. Reports show that since 1970, our wildlife has depleted by 50%. Just like climate tipping points, it is believed to be a tipping point for nature. This will happen when ecosystems collapse due to the use of pesticides and the loss of natural habitats. You may have heard of the trophic pyramid, where energy is transferred from plants to animals, of which we are one. This is at risk of collapsing if we don't act quickly. Without our insects, many of our vegetables and most of our fruits would be off the menu, and we would no longer have clothes made of cotton or linen. And also remember that plants have created the very air we breathe. We can all play a part in protecting the wild places we still have and creating more spaces for plants and animals to thrive. We must act now by putting our wildlife and their habitats first before it is lost forever. In becoming a signatory to COP15, the government agreed targets and goals to be achieved by 2030. These included the target, effective conservation and management of at least 30% of the world's lands, inland waters, coastal areas and oceans, with emphasis on areas of particular importance for biodiversity and ecosystem functioning and services. It is moved that this Council integrates the above target into all aspects of Council service provision and function. In particular, the Council shall, 1, work with Gateshead and Sunderland councils with the aim of ensuring that the target informs the setting of goals for south of Tyne and Wear local nature recovery strategy. 2, to consider a commitment to aim towards protecting and managing 30% of council land holdings for nature recovery. 3, recognise the importance of the neighbourhood plan to achieving this target and request that those responsible for the preparation of the neighbourhood plan ensure that it protects and restores nature. 4, work with residents, businesses, statutory and non-statutory bodies, educational establishments and other partners with a view to collectively promoting and achieving the target in respect of land within the Borough of South Tyneside. 5, seeks to achieve the target in respect of land within South Tyneside through any leverage or influence it can exercise via procurement and investment activities. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Is the motion seconded?
Seconded.
Thank you. Who seconded it? Right, I've got 2 seconds, yeah. Ernest, would you like to speak?
Mr Mayor, I wrote a bit of a speech, but I'll be very short, very brief.
I know.
She's the seconder.
Therefore, it is only right that this is brought to Council with COP15 and Convention on Biodiversity.
Yeah. Ernest,
Climate change.
Councillor Gibson, Councillor Taylor is actually seconding this motion.
Right.
She wishes to speak. Thank you.
You can absolutely speak, but it just might be after Councillor Taylor's seconded it.
Johnny? Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Colleagues, today I'm asking you to support a motion that goes beyond party lines because the ecological crisis we face does not recognise political colours. This is about shared duty to protect the borough we represent, the communities we serve and the future we all want for our children. Whilst we acknowledge that South Tyneside Council are currently involved in working to implement the local nature recovery strategy and biodiversity gains, and that the council have to juggle with many different land requirements, we firmly believe that it is possible and, more importantly, necessary to do more. We know the facts that in the UK, 1 in 6 species is at risk of extinction, and nature in England is declining faster than most developed nations. And we also know that the poorest communities are often the hardest hit by environmental degradation, and unfortunately that directly affects our residents, as shown in the 2019 Index of Multiple Deprivation, where South Tyneside firmly sits within England's most economically and socially challenged areas in the whole of the country. In South Tyneside Council's own published figures state South Tyneside falls within the most deprived 20% nationally. With fewer trees, more pollution and less access to green space, this is a social justice issue that this motion dares to tackle. The motion proposes that we work with Gateshead and Sunderland to align our local nature recovery strategy. Shared green infrastructure will deliver better outcomes for less cost. The aim to protect and manage 30% of council land holdings for nature isn't just an aspiration, it's aligned with national and government policy in the Environment Act 2021. We have a real opportunity here in South Tyneside to be a leader in delivering these legally backed goals instead of lagging behind. Neighbourhood plans are already in place across parts of the borough. We should empower local communities to ensure those plans are nature positive, reflecting what residents want, such as safer, greener and healthier neighbourhoods. And importantly, this motion recognises that we cannot do it alone. We must involve residents, schools, local businesses and the voluntary sector. The council also has influence through its procurement and investment decisions. Let's use our influence wisely, not just to meet environmental goals, but to create green jobs, improve public health and attract sustainable investment. Colleagues, we are running out of time. The UN says we have until 2030 to reverse biodiversity loss. This is not a future crisis, it's happening now. Let's rise to the moment. Let's show that in South Tyneside we put planet before party, because our residents deserve bold action and they deserve it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Now the motion is open for debate, I believe. Councillor Gibson, next
Yes,
speak.
Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I'll not say much because it's already, lots been said. But can I just add, South Tyneside Council, you talked about the Environmental Act 2021. It has been working in partnership with Gateshead, Sunderland. We are looking at that. As you know, there's a local recovery strategy plan already biodiversity net gain. We're looking at areas within the borough. As you know, it's only a small borough, so it's about partnership working. You know, climate change has damaged a lot of areas. It's not just wards, it's not just one area, it's the whole area, whole planet. And you're quite right, we've all got to work together on this. And it's about education, and it's about doing the right thing, about strategies, putting it into planning, putting it into everything we do within the borough and with our council. We're only a small borough, but we are hitting above our weight in climate change. And we are working in partnership with other authorities to make this happen. Also, the combined authorities are looking at many other factors. So that's another way forward. So I'll just leave it there, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Hampton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As many of you know, the UK government committed under the COP15 Global Biodiversity Framework to ambitious targets that include protecting 30% of land for nature by 2030, restoring degraded ecosystems and promoting sustainable land use. These are commendable aims. They are not just obligations, they are morally important in the face of biodiversity loss and ecological degradation. I welcome the Council's stated intention to align with COP15 principles, managing and reclaiming green spaces, enhancing biodiversity, and investing in ecological resilience are goals we should all support. However, I must express a growing concern shared by many residents about the direction we appear to be taking in parallel to those goals. We are earmarking significant portions of our greenbelt land for housing developments and solar farms. This is a contradiction that cannot be ignored. If we are serious about protecting 30% of land for nature, how can we justify consuming some of the most ecologically valuable and biodiverse landscapes for development, when other less damaging alternatives exist? We cannot promote biodiversity on one hand while diminishing it with the other. I am not opposed to building homes nor to renewable energy infrastructure, but we must ask at what cost and in what places. We have within our borough numerous brownfield already developed, already with access roads and infrastructure, many which lie dormant, underused or neglected. Some even still have the foundations of previous structures. These areas are ideal for housing and energy projects. They offer an opportunity to regenerate land without encroaching on our green belt. Yet they remain untouched. Meanwhile, our green spaces used by families teeming with wildlife, vital for exercise and well-being, flood management and air quality are being targeted. And we must consider the knock-on effects: increased traffic on already busy roads, greater demand on schools and GPs, pressure on water, sewage and waste systems. These pressures will not only harm residents' quality of life, but undermine the sustainability of the developments themselves.
Could you speak up, please, Councillor?
I'm just finishing up. This approach risks violating not only the spirit of COP15, but possibly its targets too, especially where greenbelt development reduces ecological biodiversity, destroys habitats, or leads to net biodiversity loss. I urge the Council to take a more balanced and integrated approach and actions, some of which would include to prioritise the use of our brownfield sites, to ensure that any greenbelt development...
Councillor, you'll have to speed up, we've got other people waiting.
I'm nearly finished.
Thank you.
Second, to ensure that any greenbelt development undergoes rigorous, transparent biodiversity impact assessments aligned with COP15's framework and targets. To improve infrastructure planning in tandem with any housing expansion so that new development is matched by investment in transport, healthcare, schools and waste systems, and to involve local communities in this process, not just in consultation, but in the final
Okay,
decision.
Councillor, we won't have to close it down there, I'm afraid.
I've just about finished. Go on.
Go, Councillor, please. Go. Councillor Kilgour.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I think whether it was a point of information or whether it was just something that I needed to say, I really do. I actually welcome Councillor Hamilton's comments around the retention of those things that we value the most. However, what I would say is that many of us in this room know that the arena for to do that was within the local plan. We were able to speak at the recent public hearing, and there's another one to come as well, on the basis that we submitted those comments and you know, further consultation points. If that has been, you know, missed, then that was the valid opportunity to do it, and it isn't in the chamber because it goes much further than that, and it feeds into government legislation. So I think if some members around the chamber have missed that trick, yet are purporting to be in favour of the developments that, you know, we need or do not need, I think they've missed a trick. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Jane, as a proposer, do you wish to reply to the debate?
Yeah, I thank everyone for their comments and for what the council is doing. But I think what we need to do is shout about it. We need to bring all the residents along with us. You know, we need to show them what they can do. Teach them if they need teaching, if they don't know what to do, how to rewild and how to make their gardens or their environment as nature-friendly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Is that motion agreed? Thank you. Well, colleagues, this concludes the public part of this borough meeting. Can I please ask any press and members of the public thank any members for their attendance today, and ask that you now leave the meeting room at this time, as the remaining item on the council agenda will be considered by elected members in a private, as it contains confidential information as defined in Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. Can I also ask that the live YouTube feed is now also terminated, please?
Point of order, Mr Mayor.
Point of order. Which rule has been breached, Councillor?